And we are live. It's session 3 of the Sword of the Dales. It's late evening. The four of you, with the accompaniment of Sergeant Barnes and 10 of the men of the watch, have made your way deep into the Cormanthian forest in search of the bandit hideout. A few days before, you had captured 2 of the bandits, Herman and his accomplice, when they had tried to assassinate Mathais, and he was able to show you where the bandits reside. So putting your heads together, you've concocted a plan to strike early in the morning when the bandits would be less aware. The night itself is cool. To make matters worse, clouds slowly rolled in as the evening went on as you made your way deeper into the forest. It started off as a slow drizzle. Now there's a steady rain dropping and it's soaking you right to your bone. You can't help but feel the chill. Even you, Sui, and you, Laura Lynn, who are used to the deep woods of the Cormanthian forest. So you reach a clearing, and it's here that you all stop to take a break.
Sweet Startle, though she feels the cold, she doesn't feel the cold, if that makes sense. Now, snakes are cold-blooded creatures. They need heat from external sources. Sui is lucky that she's not quite that dependent, but she still feels her body shivering, but it's mechanical to her. It's not a thing to distract her. It's not a thing to hold her back. It's just yet another variable in a never-ending equation that is the formula to what her parents called heroism and good behavior, which is what this quest is about. To save Matthias' woman, to defeat the bandits and save the town. That is what Sweet Startle has decided is heroic. And because of that, she has let the monster inside of her out. We're in the clearing, and she's looking around. And as she does so, everyone will take notice of the 3 feathers framing the left side of her face, something new that just manifested over the last few days, something she just started recently wearing. She hasn't spoken about them. To her, they might as well not even exist. But they're there nonetheless, and she touches them, brushes them ever so gently. They're not wet, even though it's raining. And she goes down to one knee, and she kisses the grass, and when she does, she hisses. They haven't heard her hiss before. They haven't seen her speak the dialect of the snake, of the Wanti, until now, and open. And they hear that low, that thin, that as she speaks to any snakes that she can conjure forth around her. And she just begins to see through them, to get the images that they have, to smell and to taste the air as they do, just to make sure that they still have yet to walk into an ambush.
As Sui starts to, she leans down, she starts to speak in this strange tongue. Sly would kind of, he would have been preparing himself for what's to come, readying his flute, making sure that everything was in order. All of his strings on his lute are tightened and as Sui starts to speak this language, Sly kind of stops what he's doing and he looks over at her oddly, and he listens in closer. He leans in a little bit, and he kind of starts to understand kind of what it all is. Not clearly, but he's getting an idea, and he looks at her frightened, and he looks very, very deadpan at Sui as she's doing this. She's not looking at him, and he'll stare at her for just a little while until he kind of shakes it off and goes about what he was doing, ignoring what just happened.
And at the same time, Laurelyn is preparing her things to get ready because she knows that she's going to go into battle, making sure her bowstring is dry and everything's right, and kind of doing the little stretches and checking her arrows over. But she also hears Sui speaking this strange hissing language, and she looks over at her comrade, who she believes to be a friend, not really knowing any better. I mean, she knows, she's heard about the Yuan-Ti, but she doesn't really quite believe it because she's pretty sold on Sui's act. And Sui's backed her up so many times that she feels that she can trust her. And she's just really curious, what is she doing? She kind of seems a little weird. It kind of bothers her a little bit, but like Sly, she goes back to her preparations because she knows they're going to fight the big fight tonight.
Matthias is not speaking. He's calm and focused. He's like a fighter walking from his dressing room to the ring where he's going to fight. He's just in the zone, so to speak, remaining calm, but he knows what he's about to do, and he's quietly prepared to do it.
Yeah. Matthias, you stand there. Your mind is probably miles away, thinking of the killing that you're going to do. You hope that Agatha is safe, and low be the poor bastard if she isn't. And so you just stand there in silence. Even the men of the watch and Captain Barnes are giving you some distance. Laurelyn, you look up to the sky and you see the clouds still there, even though the rain is letting up some. You wish that you could see the stars so that you might be more sure of where you are. Give me a survival roll, please.
Would the info for my snakes be able to give her advantage at all?
Yeah, getting to that.
All right.
Well, you want it aid?
Yeah,
right on.
Unless we're doing something different. Hmm?
Nope.
Okay.
So you can roll with advantage, Carol. So Sly, you see the rest of the group. You see several of the men kind of grumbling as they're talking in low voices amongst themselves. You sense that many of them probably do not want to be here, but were made to by the lady and Captain Barnes. Even Captain Barnes, who's typically rather jovial, if not crass, has been fairly silent on the journey. Sui, we end with you. You reach out, you speak in your parcel tongue to these snakes. And if you were anyone else, a smile would probably cross your lips as your mind and essence gets out there. You feel the first touches on the minds of these lessers. You take control of them and bend them to your will. The images you get, the sensations you feel are that of the cold wood, emptiness. Many animals have gone to ground, avoiding this foul weather, sleeping through the night. But what you do smell is burning, flame, man fire. You see these images flash quickly through your mind, Sui. Then you feel something else.
Mm-hmm.
Terror, fear, something that you're not familiar with snakes feeling, and then everything ends.
Swee's left eye specifically twitches, and she rises from her knees, and when she stands up, she spits to the ground. One of the snakes has bitten a squirrel, and she could taste its blood through it as a foul taste. And then coupled with the fire and the ash and the burning wood, her eye twitches again. Fear, terror, those were emotions, as you said, Lionel. Those were emotions of lessers, of slaves. And Sweet Startle, no slave, she turns and she looks to her compatriot, the woman she's been with so long, Laura Lynn, and she tells her, they're close. They sense very close. And she indicates with her chin a certain direction, and she raises her hand and she begins to point out this almost complicated path over and underneath roots. And she's hoping Laura Lynn's survival abilities are able to keep up with what she's trying to paint in her head, so that way she can know what she knows, so that way she can then guide them forward.
Laura Lynn looks at Sui and watches closely, and is able to gather a path, I believe, from her gestures and just even her expressions.
Perfect. Yeah. Even with the cloud cover, as with the aid of Sui, your companion, you're able to roughly pinpoint where you are, and yeah, you believe that you're probably within a mile, maybe less, of this ancient temple, now lost to the forest, now made into this lair, this nest of bandits. This nest that you guys all intend to root out this night. What do you all do?
Sweet turns to Mathais and then to the guard. Remember the plan. Me and Laureline will go first. We'll spread out. We'll be 60 feet around the camp. I will give you a signal. You will know to move in then. You will be loud, distracting. You, and she points to their halfling bard, you will play your music. If you have any other tricks, you will use them. I, too, will use what I can to distract them, to pull the bandits out, as we all discussed. They will go for the guard. They will engage the guard. We will keep them confused. And then, when only the Black Beach and Agatha is left in the camp, and then she looks back to Mathais, you will go in. Laureline, you will give him cover fire. I will give cover fire. And we will butcher them. Yes? Is everyone understanding?
Laura Lynn nods. I can do that. I might even be able to help distract them.
Good. If one of us falls, if one of us is hurt, you will know the signal. Give it and we will rush to you. But if we cannot, we will put Agatha's life and the death of this Black Beach, therefore the lives of the Shadowdales, above our own. And that is the heroic thing to do, yes? And she looks specifically at the halfling when she says that, knowing that in their last fight, his bravery was less than what was desired.
Sly swallows a big lump, kind of feeling the all eyes on him now as she looks at him, and he'll nod his head sternly, understandingly.
Laura Lynn looks at Sly and she says, Sly, remember the music, because I know your music sustains you. Keep that to help you.
Sly looks at Lorelei and he says, I have a special song prepared for tonight.
Oh, and finally, Sui will look to the captain of the guard. And she walks over to him, Lionel. And she stands before him in the rain and everything, her face completely emotionless, dead in his eye. And she says, do not come close to the camp. Keep you and your men as distant as you can to draw the bandits as far away. No matter what screams you hear, no matter how the battle goes, Make sure they do not return until we return with the Black Peachy's head.
As you approach Captain Barnes, you know, he's definitely a seasoned warrior. You can see the scars upon his face, you know, his leathered skin. He smiles. He smiles at you. Right, oh, right, your lady. Yeah, certainly. And he kind of looks past you over to Laura Lynn. With your lady's permission, of course. Yeah.
Sly will look over at Barnes. He'll say, "Come on, Barnes, grow up hair."
And Laurelyn just kind of shakes her head at Sly, but she looks at Barnes and she's like, yes, follow those instructions implicitly. It's very important.
He kind of, your words kind of reach him, Sly, and he kind of stands up a little bit taller, and he turns back to his men and says, all right, y'all heard the, and he catches himself just before he says it, and he says, the ladies, get at it, men. And you see his men starting to get their gear together, and packing up what meals, what small little respite they were taking, and prepare to move to follow you guys. And he turns back to you, Swee, and he says, so that's still the plan then, right? Me and mine to lure him away?
Yes, we and Laureline will go first. We will begin the distractions. We will awaken the guard. They will begin to send men out. They will hear you. They will see torches, hopefully through the lane, maybe. They will hear you. You will make noise, and they will come running. Sly will also help. It will be extremely important that you be as loud as possible. You wait for my signal. My signal will be simple. And she hisses. And when she does, a snake coiled around one of the branches just slowly uncoils, and its head and neck just kind of swing down. And she says, when it falls from the tree, that is when you go in and you start making noise.
That unnerves him again, and he just silently nods his head, but you can see the fear that has touched his face. All right, men, let's be at it. And he quickly moves away from you, Swee. What are you all going to do now?
Laura Lynn looks towards Swee and points kind of forward and off to the right, assuming that Swee wants to go to the left. Just kind of like arranges with her which direction we're going.
Remember, Laureline, 60 feet. Measure it as best you can, as many paces as you can from the camp. And when she says that, she turns, and when she begins to walk away, Swee blinks so that way no one can see her. When she blinks and she opens her eyes, it's almost like she has a second eyelid horizontally, and her eyelids actually open up again this way. And when they do so, the jade is bright now, almost glowing, and the pupils are long slits. And the feather in her hair, just one of the feathers, it begins to almost ooze a mist about it. So faint you can't see it in the rain, and it just trails behind her. And when she moves into the woods, she's going to begin using her misty visions at will to try and give her advantage on her stealth check, basically, making the illusion that she is nothing more than maybe a rabbit or a hare or even a snake moving through the woods as she goes to basically stealth through them to take position by the camp.
Yeah, so the rest of you, what you would see as Swee kind of walks away is she almost dissolves, blending in with the lower brush. If not knowing that where she had gone, you would easily lose sight of her. Perfect. So you start heading toward the camp. Now, one of the things is Herman had drawn you a outline or a layout of the bandit camp. One of the things he says is that it's there's only really one way to get into the camp, and it was cleared by the bandits because the other stuff is too mired with briar. And so you would see on the map that he prepared for you, it would be from that, I believe it's a southeasterly direction.
So imagine like if it's like a triangle, then like imagine just two like legs of the triangle going down from that one entrance point, and 60 feet from both of those at each egg, at the end of each leg, I imagine they would be Sweet and Laura Lynn once they get in the position and stuff.
Perfect. So what is your marching order? As I know Swee's in the front, but what is the rest of the marching order as you guys move closer to this bandit camp?
Sly would probably hang towards the back with the guards in tow, kind of as his squad, and they're going to hang back and let the other three go forward so that they can prepare their distraction, and then they can sneak in and do what they need to do.
Yeah, so I'll need everybody to make a stealth roll, and we'll do a group stealth, except for you, Sweet, who's far enough ahead. And everyone will have advantage because one of the good things about the rain is it has coated the ground enough that any of the dry leaves and whatnot have been saturated enough that stepping on them gives very little sound. Yeah, so you would not have disadvantage, Tom, on your roll. You would just have a straight up stealth roll now because it would cancel out because of your armor.
Okay, I rolled a 9.
Okay.
I'm just gonna move. I'm gonna move toward whatever position Sui told me I needed to go to, I guess.
Yeah. So you guys are moving fairly quietly through this wood, and at one point, Mathais catches his foot and slips on the wet leaves, and you hear him kind of stumble as he catches himself, and there's kind of a loud kind of racket as his armor. What sort of armor do you wear, Mathais?
It's splint mail.
Splint. So as the branches of a tree kind of rake against your splint mail, it kind of, you know how when you're trying to really be quiet and every little noise sounds like a cacophonous freaking boom. That's what it sounds like to you, Sly, and Laura Lynn, and you faintly hear it behind you, Sui. And then he catches himself, rights himself, and again he starts moving along with you. So Sui, as you picking your way through the forest, finding the easiest path, trying to stay low and quiet. So minutes pass, minutes become an hour. It drags on a little bit past the hour, and then you see it, a slight glow up ahead. The path before you seems to open up. Give me a perception roll, Sui.
17.
Yeah. So as you're moving forward, you're just about to take another step, and in the corner of your eye, you catch movement up in a tree. As you stop, tuck in close around the trunk of a tree, it's damp bark. You feel it moist against your skin. You look up and you see a figure up in this tree. It's a lookout. You don't believe he's seen you, but you've definitely seen him.
Swede doesn't understand the logic of putting lookouts in trees. Just because when a person falls from a tree, if they don't die, they're crippled. And making people fall from trees, she has learned, is oh so easy. As she goes akin to the roots. And she does what Swede does best as a Wanti, and that is command. As Carol just said, send in the snakes, essentially. As she whispers
You
and
are
she
evil.
hisses. I'm evil, all right. As she whispers and she hisses. I imagine it would be slightly unnerving for the lookout to hear the hissing at first from all these different snakes. But when he sees them falling from the branches above him on his own little branch, when he sees them crawling up, coiling around the trunk en masse, and when they begin to swarm him in the tree, Sweet Startle understands that this is the diversion they needed to bring people out. And she also signals that original snake far, far back with the captain of the guards, it falls to the ground. because she knows this man will scream as he snakes appear, and others will come out, and then they will rush to where the guards are at once they start making that noise.
Perfect. Actually, that is actually what Sui envisions in her mind. She's done something similar to this before. However, as she reaches out to these snakes, these lesser beings to her, things that she bends to her will, at a whim, she finds none. And that's disturbing to you. Not disturbing like it might disturb someone else, but disturbing because it makes no logical sense to you. There should be snakes here, but why aren't they? And you think to yourself, give me an insight roll, Sui.
18, I'm rolling good tonight for now.
Yeah,
For
perfect.
action starts.
You immediately think, I mean, you're a predator yourself, and you think that's exactly that. There is some predator here, a predator of snakes.
Sui's left eye twitches again, and she puts two and two together, knowing that she felt fear earlier from the snakes. And knowing now that she's lost her most versatile weapon, she understands that she is left with very few tools left, but still just enough to get the job done, she thinks. For even if she can't summon the snakes, she can still manifest the image of snakes. And so, knowing that she cannot speak to them, the mist curls around and those glowing jade eyes warps them into shape as she begins to manifest snake after snake after snake, a swarm of them just colliding in on this man as an illusion.
Perfect. What does your spell save DC?
It is, I think it's 14. Let me go double check. 13.
Describe it for me as these snakes manifest before this poor innocent lookout who's just doing their job, and then he sees these snakes. Tell us what happens.
It's again like you said earlier, what she was envisioning in her mind, she still makes a reality. That is the wantee's purpose. And those she tries to fight back that carnal urge to rule and control, the magic that she was gifted with, the feather that her patron gave her, it still brings out some of that. And so the mist pools right at the base of this tree's trunk. And then crawling from the mist is just snake after snake after snake of different kinds. You have your coral snakes, you have your copperheads, your rattlesnakes, anacondas, for God's sake. Everything crawling up through the trunk. And then the mist pools above him, and he will see the snakes coming out, wrapping around the branch that he is on, coming out from the lookout underneath him, just surrounding him. A cage, a prison of nightmares.
Yeah, and he just screams in utter terror, his scream piercing the night. It seems to almost hang there longer because of the dampness of the air. And then you see him. He tries to move from these snakes, and he teeters, tries to catch, but his hand slips on the wet bark, and you hear him scream again as he falls. And there's a sickening wet thud as he hits the soft, wet earth below. And then he doesn't move. What are the rest of you doing? No, is that the point? I just wanted some clarification on your what you guys are planning. So when you get to this point, Sui, is this the point where the rest of the party you would have signaled back to wait, or the other two joining you and then Sly is hanging back?
So if the screaming has begun, because Laura Lynn should already be there. She should be like 60 feet away from me, at like an opposite end. Mathais, I think, would just be coming up to me by now. And if the man's screaming, and like kind of just making a scene, then she would have triggered the signal for the guards and for Sly to start their job.
Perfect. So all I would need from you, Laura Lynn, is a stealth check as you move over into position. And just cinematically, just as that's happening, just as this guard is screaming and starting to tip from that tree, Mathais, that's when you come up to Sui's shoulder. And you're like just off her shoulder, and you're looking up, and you see this lookout fall. Perfect. Yeah, you seem to be pretty well hidden on the further side of this this thoroughfare that leads into the bandit camp. You can see the golden glow of what you assume would be campfires in, and you can smell burning wood that acrid odor reaches your nose, Laura Lynn.
Okay, I have something I want to do once I've hidden myself behind a bush,
Go for it.
if I can. I would like to pull out a little bit of wool and wave my hand and whisper a few words. And where the guy fell out of the tree, having heard the screaming over there, somewhere in that area, there's going to be a whole bunch more screaming as I cast Minor Illusion to try to help bring the bandits out of the camp.
Oh, so what are you casting?
Minor Illusion?
What's the illusion?
The screaming.
Oh,
So-
okay. So you're making more screaming?
Yes, I'm making more screaming over in that area. Probably not where
Perfect.
Sui is exactly, kind of drawing them a little bit away from that.
Yeah, you would probably want to put it further away because you want to. I believe your guy's plan is to draw bandits away from the camp, and
Right.
then Sly and his team is going to then draw them further into the wood away from you guys. Is that what the plan
Yep.
is?
Yep. So I'm
Now,
gonna kill.
Sly, are you staying with the guardsmen, the watchmen, or are
Yeah.
you?
So
Okay, cool.
as Sui and Laurelin and Mathais had kind of taken down the path, Sly would get up on kind of a fallen tree stump that sits a little bit high, and he would clamber his way up there, and he would turn to the guards, and he would tell them to get in positions around this clearing for an ambush. Now they had Fly would have probably made sure that they had set up a small campfire, kind of in the center of this clearing, and he would try to position it strategically with this stump. He had been thinking of a way to draw out these bandits all night, and this is his plan. So he's positioned this fire kind of strategically behind the stump. So when he stands on the stump, it'll be between the fire and the bandit camp. So he's told the guards to now get into positions for an ambush, and as soon as he sees that snake fall to the ground, he's going to pull out his flute, and he's going to kind of go up the scales, and he'll just start with a lot, and he's going to go up the scales on the notes on his flute, and basically what I'm doing is casting light, and I'm going to use that to enhance the fire, to sort of project a larger shadowy figure towards the camp to make it seem as though there's something large and frightening in the woods.
Perfect. So within minutes, you see activity deeper in the in where the bandits' camp is. And only moments after that, you see the first figures. You see men, and you would guess by smaller stature, women. They run up. And how long are you still keeping that effect up, Laura Lynn, as these bandits come forward?
The actual spell is good for 1 minute, but it's a cantrip, so yeah, what I'm going to do is kind of move the screaming here and there throughout the woods, but generally, as far as I can, move it towards Sly and the guard to try to confuse them and move them in that general direction.
Perfect. Yeah, so you do that, and as you see it, just shy of a dozen men and women dressed in leathers and carrying either clubs, maces, or short swords, and you see them. They run up to where this lookout is dead, and there's you hear one of them yell, "Hunwald's dead. Look at him. Look at the look on his face." And then a couple others are just kind of looking nervously about the wood as they hear these screams of terror. You hear a woman say, "What is that? I've never heard that before." And then it just kind of fades in as they start talking to each other. And then one that you assume is probably the leader in this group stifles them. "Stifle your damn racket. Steal yourselves. God damn it."
Right about then, Laurelyn's going to change what she's projecting, and it's going to be, "Help, help, I need help over here."
And give me what's your spell save DC? Never mind. I'm sure it's higher than 3. So, so yeah. So that the one goes, all right, follow me, stay close. And you just see them, a couple of them pulling shields out, a couple drawing daggers so that they have sword and dagger in hand, and they fade off into the woods. And then you hear one yell, over there, I see it, I see a light. And you kind of hear them kind of making their way off to where Sly and the watchmen have set their trap. What do the three of you do as they move away?
Sweet puts a hand on Matthias' shoulder. She looks him dead in his eye again. Her face is not softer, but it's softer, if that makes sense. It's not as intimidating as it normally would be. And she says to you, Matthias, I will do my best to keep you safe. But remember, find the Black Beach, attack her first. It's me and Laureline keep whoever else is in there off of your back. Kill her, and we sever the head off of him. And then she pats him on the shoulder as like, go get him, boy, go attack, dog, activate.
And what about the other two? What are you guys doing?
Okay, I'm looking at the this map of the bandits' nest. Where on? Do you know like around where we are on that map?
Yeah, let me screen share it. That might be helpful for you guys.
All right.
All right. So you guys see that?
Yeah.
Okay, everybody sees that?
I do.
And can you see your my mouse? I don't know. You
No.
probably can't see. So if you look at the bottom right corner, you guys are just off the map right there.
Okay. So
and if you look at the northern part of the map, that is where Herman said is where the Black Bitch has set up her headquarters.
okay, I'm gonna start circling around to the right, still in the woods, just to the back of these other two buildings, and make my way in the direction of that bigger main building.
So something you would quickly find out, Matthias, is that even though this map kind of shows the wood doesn't end there, it's actually overrun with briars and brush. It's almost impassable. You would have to literally cut your way through. That's one of the things that the bandits probably purposely did this and probably purposely picked this place. You can see that they cleared this path that leads into the nest proper, and that's why it's called the nest, because it's almost like this great big forested nest of this overgrown temple complex. So the only real viable way, at least at this point, would be to take this path that seems like the path that these men and women came running down.
All right, I'll start down that path as cautiously as possible, keeping my eyes and ears open and my weapons ready.
Perfect. So, and Sui, I believe you're following behind with him.
So what she's going to do is she's going to be at the mouth of the pass, and she's going to shift her Mizzy visions onto him because she's seeing like the lookout on a few of the people. She's going to try and basically just disguise him until he gets in there, so that way he doesn't get attacked randomly. So that way he looks like one of them. But it's just a very thin illusion. So the moment they touch him or really start to investigate, she'll just peel it off and let him do what he's got to do.
Perfect. Yeah, excellent. I love it. And Laura Lynn, what are you doing?
Well, having kind of scouted around and having listened to the bandits, I know there's really only one way in. And I know that Sui said this to keep my distance, so I don't want to get in too close, but I do want to be close enough that if something happens, I can react and help Mathais. So I'm going to be basically kind of east and north, so that I'm along the kind of where the woods gets thick up there, but near the mouth of the entrance, kind of surveying whatever I can see. Do my abilities in forest help me to get through the brush at all? Would that be a possibility, or is it just too thick?
You can definitely you could probably get through at half speed, whereas they would be almost impassable to them. But even for you, even with all the time you've spent in the wood, you would feel that this is pretty hard to traverse.
What if I was to climb up a tree?
To
try to work my way maybe through the trees, or would that just?
Oh yeah, you could definitely do that.
I get up where I can actually see into the camp. Maybe get a shot if I need to.
Just give me an athletics to scramble your way up the tree, or actually you could use an acrobatics, either one.
All right. 15.
Yep. So you scramble up a tree, and so I'll just have you do acrobatics checks. Give me an acrobatics check as you kind of leap from one of these branches to another.
All right. I'm actually rolling well. That's 17.
Cool. So so you're able to get yourself. You see that first building on the eastern side of the complex, the larger of the two.
Mm-hmm.
You're just south of that, up in a tree, but you're high enough up that you can look down into that courtyard. In the middle of the courtyard, you see a well, and surrounding it, you see the worn shapes of what were once 6 statues. And near the well, you see a bonfire burning, and you see a few men standing. You see 2 men, sorry, not a few, 2 men standing beside it, kind of looking worriedly down towards the path.
Okay, well, I'm going to probably used up all my actions, but I'm going to basically then just settle myself in, getting prepared to shoot if I need to.
Perfect. And Sly, we kind of shift over to you. You start executing the plan that you guys had so carefully made. You hear the sounds of voices, and you look, and off in the distance, you catch the glint of your light on the metal of weapons.
Yeah, and as they sort of got, within close to earshot, Sly would start to kind of yell out in as large of a voice, I would say, as he possibly can. Being 3 foot nothing, and he would kind of yell out. He would say, "Come out and face me, you cowards!" and kind of antagonizing things like that.
Yeah, you hear a couple of indistinct kind of responses, but they kind of blend together, and then you just see this gaggle of people just rush forward towards you, led by a larger, more stocky man. And we will cut back to you, Mathais. You're walking cautiously up this path. Give me a perception roll.
Uh, 13.
Perfect. Yeah. So as you're moving up this path, you're just about to take a step when your eyes catch some brown foliage and interwoven branches. You kick it with your foot, and you reveal the edge of a pit you almost stepped in. As you kind of kneel down and peer inside, you see that the bottom of the pit is just laced with sharpened sticks. If you had taken one step closer, you would have fallen down, possibly even to your death. You make your way around this and continue on. You can see now the light of the camp ahead of you, Mathais. You see no movement.
Okay, so what do I see ahead of me?
You would just see the light of what would be what you have rightly surmised is a fire. You're walking just along the edge of that lower building. You're almost to the clearing.
Okay, I'm going to kind of crouch down and just try to stay as inconspicuous as possible, and just
Right.
creep ahead and see what all I can see.
Right. Yeah, you do that, and as you do, as you creep forward, you see the same thing that Laura Lynn saw. You're seeing it probably around the same time as Laura Lynn. You see this opening. You see this larger fire. You see two men outlined by this fire. They seem to be looking in your direction, though they don't appear to have seen you. And you see that this clearing is encircled by 6 ancient statues, and off beyond that, up on a 15-foot hill rise, you can see this great temple, though now lost and overgrown with wood.
Okay, is this still my go?
No, I'm going to switch over to Sui now. So Sui, you see Mathais move forward. He stops for a second, kind of paws a little bit at the ground, and then moves forward. And you also see Laura Lynn scramble up a tree, and then you see her kind of just almost squirrel-like leap over onto the branch of another tree. What is Sui doing?
I imagine she's not been close behind Matthias, but she's been trailing him. She saw the trap. She goes around the trap. When she sees Matthias kind of paw at the ground for a second, her eyes narrow, and then she looks up into the tree, and she sees Laura Lynn is looking at something, the same thing that Matthias is looking at. She doubts they're looking at just the fire, but she goes low to the ground herself, almost crawling on all fours, but not quite, just moving silently, slowly. And she gets to this point to not all the way out into the open, but maybe where that one big little like rubble briar thing is, right there underneath the, you know what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
At the end of the path. She gets about there, and can she see crouching? Can she see the two of the bandits?
Yeah, you see them. They just kind of they just are moving around, talking in a low, not talking loud enough for any of you to hear him. You see them. They're not really nervous, but they're maybe wondering why it's taken the others so long. Thinking that they would be back. Maybe it was some wild animal scared to look out or something. Blah blah blah. And so they're just kind of moving around. They seem unaware of any of your guys' presence.
1 second. Let me see how much this is. Okay. Okay. I just rolled really well on this. So what Sui is going to do? Can she take a spell or no?
Can she what?
Can she cast a spell or no?
Oh yeah, we're not in initiative right now, so this is kind of free action for you guys.
All right. So she takes out the silver stuff box, and she opens it, and you can see the coiled, shedded snakeskin inside. And she brings it to her lips, and she kisses it. And when she does, as she pulls it away, you see that green light, and you hear the hissing coming from the green light and the rustling of feathers. And her eyes flicker for a moment as all of these ethereal serpents burst from the snuff box and go shooting towards these two men, these two guards, as she casts a sleep spell on both of them. And I rolled 33 total hit points.
That's perfect. That is awesome. Because as Sui casts that spell, you see these two men, they're talking to each other. And you see one of the guys' heads tilt, and you know by that angle, his head is almost directly pointed to where Laura Lynn is. And you see him go as your spell takes hold, and both of these men crumple to the ground. You totally just saved her because I just rolled a spot on her up in the tree. So yeah, the two men in this clearing are now asleep.
Well, out there asleep, Sui will look to Matthias and just kind of go like, boom, run into that temple. Let's go. Attack dog.
Oops,
and I would end his
I was muted, sorry. Perfect. So yeah, so how are you guys planning on doing that? And just tell me how you guys are going to do it. Then Cameron's going to shift it back over to Sly and his current dilemma or opportunity, I guess, if you want to look at it.
I'll let Matthias and Laura. Well, I'll let Matthias decide how he wants to handle the frontal assault.
Perfect. I think he's went AFK for a second. So
Yeah,
why don't we
I
start with
believe
you, Laura Lynn?
All right. Well, seeing that the camp is clear, basically, those guys trampled over asleep, Laura Lynn's going to come down from her tree and work her way into the camp because she can see there's really not any more threat there available.
Yeah, it's a pretty mundane. Just give me a mundane. Actually, no, I'm not even going to have you make a roll. Yeah, you just slide your way down the tree and you join Sui and Matthias at the base, at the southernmost point of this the clearing.
I'm assuming, having seen the stuff that Matthias kicked off the trap, I'm paying attention and not going to step in anything. And I said, oh, there's traps here, so I'm alert to them.
No matter what Matthias does, Sui is going to be checking these other 4 buildings as we move ahead. So basically, as he runs in, Sui is taking her time and making sure there's no more threats in any of these buildings.
Yeah, that's right. I'll check the right hand too, the eastern ones.
That works.
Cool. Yeah. So, oh shoot, I'm muted. Am I muted? No.
You're
So
not
you
muted.
would. Okay. So you would see that the southern building, the one you were closest to, you would just smell it. You would smell like animal waste. It seemed like it was some sort of pen or something. Something was kept there. You see the remnants of bone and fur from whatever might have been fed to whatever it was kept in this pen. The pen is now empty. And this southern building that you would look into, the same thing. You see kind of, it seems to be some sort of lair of some sort of beast. You don't see any evidence of the beast though. It's otherwise looks empty. Matthias, are you back? No. Okay. So you guys would methodically move through this clearing to the main temple. Is that the plan?
Yeah, basically checking every building
Cool.
as we go ahead.
All right. So you guys check those first 2 buildings, and then you start swinging out around to check the other. You're gonna leave the two bandits sleeping in the center of this.
It's not really time to tie them up, so we would know.
Right. So I'm just going to bring Matthias up to speed because he stepped away for a second. So what happened is Sui put the two bandits to sleep. So Laura Lynn has now joined you. Sui checked the southern building, which seemed to be some sort of lair for some creature. You did find some treasure there, but I'm assuming you're probably not counting up treasure right now, and maybe something you would check after. But you did see something of value there. I forgot to mention that, Sweetie. But other than that, you would also see it is definitely some sort of beast. It's very feral in nature. It's reeks and matted bones of creatures, and even some bones that you see that you would guess we are human in that southern one. And the other one would be just more creatures type bones. Laura Lynn. So the question, Matthias, was what do you plan to do now?
Well, I guess just help check the buildings. I kind of wanted to kill those bandits, but now that they're asleep, I'll just leave them go. And just
Could Sui and Matthias working together tie them up in time, like relatively quickly?
Certainly. Okay. Yeah. So if you see that center circle, that's a well, and you could easily run, dash to there and tie them up.
All right, sure. That's what Sui would do. While Laura Lynn's just checking the pins, the remaining rooms.
Okay.
And as she's doing that, she would look at Matthias. Once they're tied up, she'd point to the main temple, and she'd basically indicate that this is his show now. Like, this is on you to just go charging in there and do what you gotta do.
Perfect. So yeah, you check the other two outlying buildings, and you're almost checking that if you see the other one is obviously totally collapsed in upon itself on the west side. As you're almost to the uppermost one,
Why do you intrude upon my land? She comes out, this rather tall woman, and you hear the scraping of claws as a large shadow approaches behind her and sits next to her. A bear seems to be docile, and she stares down at you with steely eyes, crossbow aimed at the men tying up her underlings. Why do you intrude upon my land? Slaughter my men.
And we're going to cut scene right at that point, and we find ourselves back with the men of the watch and Sly. You have a good dozen bandits charging your position. What is it you guys are going to do? Do you follow the plan as agreed upon with Sui, or does Sly take creative liberties and make this plan his own?
Yeah, so I guess to an extent there's a bit of creative liberty there, knowing that just judging by the size that they may be a tad outnumbered, but they're certainly not outgunned. Sly's going to bait them in as far as possible to this clearing, while still casting this kind of light illusion to make him seem big and scary, when in reality. He's going to bait them in as far as possible, knowing that the guards are set up kind of in the trees, hidden by this shadow of light that's kind of it's kind of messing with their perception, perhaps, or kind of drawing the attention of the bandits. And when they get close enough, he's going to make the call and have all of the guards just swarm these bandits and try and take them all out in kind of one fell swoop.
Perfect. Yeah, so they rush in. There's a couple of them slow down as you kind of put on this illusionary effect, but they you don't know if it's just that your magic is not quite strong enough. Maybe they're just not hearing the spinning of the magics as they continue to press forward. Or if maybe they're more afraid of this large brutish of a bandit that's kind of leading them. He's got a hand axe in one hand and a short sword in the other. He immediately sees you and points, and he says, "Kill that little one." And he runs off, and you hear him, and then battle ensues. So why don't we roll initiative? And why don't we all roll initiative, just so everyone's got initiative done, even though I know there's not a fight actually happening in the other scene yet. For Sly. 10 for Mathais. 5 for Lynn. What did you get? You got a 5, Sweet, Wow, no one got a banging initiative, huh?
We're all slow to the draw tonight.
Only
Well,
15's like upper
it's cold.
75%.
Cool.
Come on
So,
now.
yeah, that's true. Perfect. Sly, you are up. So you have these bandits charging into your toward you and your men. You get to act first. What do you do?
Yeah, so like you said, I imagine they're moving a little bit more cautiously, the bandits around this larger, obviously leader. And he calls out to Sly and he says, kill the small one. And Sly grabs his flute and he just kind of angrily scowls and he says, I'm not small, I'm average for my kind. And he's going to start playing a tune, but it's going to seem as though nothing is coming from his flute. To everyone except for this captain, who Sly's obviously pinpointed, and Sly's going to target him. And essentially, I'm casting Dissonant Whispers, which is a spell that targets one creature, being the captain, and he has to make I believe it's a Wisdom saving throw against my spell save DC.
Okay, what is it? 13?
Yes.
Okay. Yeah, he makes his save. What was the effect you were going for?
So what the spell does is it deals 3d6 psychic damage, and on a failed save they have to move as far away as safely possible, basically like in fear. But on a successful save they take half as much and don't have to move away. So I'll roll the damage. So that's a 5 total. So you would take half that.
Yeah. So you see him kind of stumble in his tracks, and he still holding his weapons. You see him just grabbing at his head, and he's just screaming, "Ah! What are you doing to me?"
Yeah, and he would be the only one who would hear this kind of like harsh, very violent song, and nobody else would hear any sound coming from this flute.
And he yells, "Kill that one! He's a witch! No, he's a wizard!
He's Harry Potter, kill him!"
Yes, he's Harry Potter.
And can I kind of like, I guess, save my movement if any of them get within striking range? Sly's going to kind of, back up a little bit, try and stay away from them a little bit.
You probably would want to do that now rather than waiting.
All right, so then he would
opportunity attacks if they get up close.
Yeah, he would kind of cast this spell and see it take effect, and he would kind of hop off his stump and take several paces back while still holding this spell on him, playing this painful song, and just wait for the guards to make their strike.
So just for your benefit, Sly, so not to make this really your battle really drawn out, so there's going to be fighting. Many of the bandits and the watchmen are going to be fighting alongside you, and the outcome of that will really be based on what you do. But you do see this leader shears off, and one other bandit, a stout-looking female, shear off, and they immediately start heading toward you. And next up, the black bitch.
Did those two-bit murderers mislead you? They've been gunning for me for a long time. Going around and killing innocents. It's not what I do.
Sweet Coxerhead, are you the Black Beach?
That's what they call me.
Are you the leader of these bandits?
Yes. But I think you've been misled.
It is irrelevant whether you kill or you do not kill. You just said that you are the leader of these bandits. Bandits break the law. Bandits rob. Bandits make the roads dangerous.
Yes, but there are others. stronger and more violent than my group. As you can see, you made quick work of them. Perhaps we can work
We will
together.
get to them in time. No. And she raises her hand. You misunderstand me. I did not say I was here to arrest you. I did not say I was here to negotiate with you. Black Beach, I will repeat myself only once. You are a bandit. Bandits break the law. Bandits make the law dangerous. I believe it would do the people of the Dales well if there were no more bandits whatsoever.
Who brought you here?
I brought myself.
All right. At that point, she would shout, "UFO! Sick!" And she would turn back and run into the temple, cast Bless on the bear, and the bear would charge. Probably
Perfect.
at Sui. And the
Okay.
doors would close behind her.
So Sui, your effect, the effect that you put into the chat, would I assume you would move that to the bear?
Yeah, I was always going to target the bear from day one.
Cool.
All right.
All right.
Can the
Excellent.
bear get down to Sui and Matthias?
Matthias.
All right.
It would probably get to Matthias first.
All right. He'll go for Matthias.
Because
Then
Matthias is closer.
he's probably bigger. So, how many attacks does it have?
It has 2. It has a bite and a claw.
All right.
But it's not the bear's turn yet.
Oh, it isn't? Okay.
Yeah,
Well,
so the bear, you would give the order, and the bear would start to move down the stairs. But as that happens, let me see here. Out of the darkness of the entrance of the temple, Sui, you see movement, and you see a flicker of light caught by the campfire as an arrow lances quickly at you and strikes at your chest, causing 4 points of piercing damage. And as you kind of maybe shift back, maybe surprised by it, you see a second arrow just miss your head as it flies off behind you, and you hear it snapping against one of the structures behind you. Matthias, you're up. You see this bear starting to lumber quickly. Oh, not lumber, I guess. Come down these stairs to attack you. And Sui.
I'm going to set myself, focus, and calmly move toward the bear in combat readiness. Am I close enough to attack it?
I don't think it's moved yet.
Kyle, am I close enough to attack the bear?
Lionel, you muted.
Yeah, so, sorry. I didn't realize I was muted. The bear is, it's not the bear's turn, but kind of all this stuff is happening all within the same 6 seconds. So the bear's starting to come down these stairs. So you could actually meet it up the stairs if you wanted to use your action, and you could definitely get your attack.
All right, then I'm going to do that. This is what I came for.
All right.
So I need to roll 2 attacks, 1 for each hand.
Yep.
Okay. First one is with my +5. That's a 13. And the second one is 18.
Yeah, both hit.
Okay, cool. So let's see, 1 to 8 plus 3. That's 7. And then 1 to 6 plus 3. 9.
So all up, it's 9.
Yes.
Yeah, you cut quickly and at the bear's thick fur hide, and you see blood slick your sword, but the bear still keeps lumbering forward. It just kind of goes.
Hey, Boo Boo, you see any picnic baskets?
Any picnic baskets? Laura Lynn, you're up.
Here's Sui shouting at her that there's hidden archers. So she she steps behind some rubble to get some cover, and kind of as she's raising her bow up to shoot, she waves her hand out and says "mark" and casts Hunter's Mark on the bear. And she takes a shot at the bear. I pre-rolled that 16 to hit. Does that hit?
Yes.
All right, that's 6 damage.
Did you already roll the Hunter's Mark?
That's including the Hunter's Mark, yes.
Laura Lynn, come on. You got to take better care of your arrows.
Hey.
So it hits the rear haunch of this bear, and it keeps lumbering forward. All right. Sui, you're up.
The moment Sui was hit with the arrow, again, there's no panic, there's no fear, there's simply a necessity. She reaches up and as she screams out to Laura Lynn, "Hidden arches!" She snaps the arrow in her chest, throws it to the side, and quickly darts to the nearest statue, sliding up behind it to take cover behind it. As she does so, the snuff box still in her hand, she flicks it back open with a thumb, and she kisses it again, and she puts her hand into it, and she pulls out just these about a dozen or so strands of these ethereal serpents coalescing in her palm into a ball. She quickly turns around the statue, and she flicks her hand out at the bear. These things explode into motion, wrapping around its fur, and they go into every wound on this thing's body. They crawl into the small bits of it, into the mouth, into the eyes, into the bleeding gash she's opened up as she hexes and curses the bear, or rather as Eats Coatl, her fey patron, works his foul magic and begins to bring the bear down from the inside out. And once it is hexed, she quickly snaps her right hand, and you see that standard serpent coil around the wrist again, and she flows her arm out, and again it's like it was with the horse. It's as fast as a bolt of lightning almost, that ethereal eldritch blast, as it quickly just smacks into the side of the bear, as if it's just been bitten by a snake in its throat, and the snakes inside of it react to it. The spell, it reacts inside of the bear, and they begin to eat at its organs, trying to basically explode their way out from the inside out. So necrotic and force damage together, that was a total of 11 damage on my. No, wait, I think it was 11? No.
Yeah, it was 11.
It was 11.
Yeah.
11 damage.
Yeah.
And she goes back behind the statue.
Yeah, so she ducks in back to get cover from the archer that she knows is firing upon them. And the bear, it stumbles as it is in front of you, Mathais. And maybe you kind of sidestep a bit as you're kind of moving to get angle on it. And it is the brown bear's turn.
All right. The bear is going to charge at Mathais since he's the largest target. And the first roll is going to be 19 plus whatever it is, plus 3 from Bless.
Yes.
And then
it's
9 plus 4 plus whatever modifier it has.
Yeah, that'll miss Mathais. So the first one hits. That's was it your claw or your bite?
It'd probably be the bite.
Okay, so that's a D8 plus 4.
Okay. 9 damage.
So this bear just chomps right into your leg, Mathais. You can't quite pull it back in time. You had probably written it off too soon with Sui's magic tearing and ripping it apart. You probably thought the fight was gone in it, but it surprised you. You were able to kind of step back just enough as its claws rake across your splint armor. And let me see.
Yeah.
So the camera shifts back to the battle between Sly and the bandits. And the tall man, he kind of shakes his head and he gets his wits about him and he sprints after you, Sly. What is your movement speed?
25.
25. Yeah. So he's not quite able to close the distance, and he kind of just and sprints and catches up to you. And he's just getting ready to bring his hand axe down on your head as his turn ends. And you see behind him, you see the other one running up behind, but she's not quite able to get to you in this round. And you can also hear the sounds of fighting, screams, yells of pain, and exertion as the bandits and watchmen engage in combat. And we're back to you, Sly. So this large bandit is trying to end you.
Yeah. So Sly kind of gets his wits about him a little bit as he sees that this larger bandit is not quite able to reach him in time before Sly can react. Sly, dealing in the streets a lot, has dealt with a lot of large, hunkering men coming towards him to get their money back. So Sly kind of acts as though he kind of does a feint, and he acts as though he's going to run backwards the way that he was already going, and then will quickly dash forward through the legs of this larger gentleman and try and stick his dagger into his leg as he goes by, and just kind of do a swift stab and run.
Yeah, I love it. Go for it.
So that's a 21 to hit.
Yeah, you drive the dagger right into his thigh. It's not well armored. You notice he's just wearing a leather jerkin. Most of his arms and legs are pretty much exposed.
And that's 6 damage. That's max damage on the dagger.
Yeah, you hear a beautiful sound to your bardic ear, a scream of pain as you drive that dagger deep, and as you pull it out, you see red crimson blood running down his leg. Nice.
Yeah. And Sly will distance himself a tad, out of striking distance, but not out of movement distance. And will.
Oh, I'm sorry. I misunderstood. I thought you were dashing away, so I actually made an attack of opportunity already, and his hand axe swings high over your head,
sure.
Probably off balance as you rip the dagger free, so he misses you.
It's good enough.
Yeah. Cool. Back to you, Brithwin.
Muted, Dan.
It doesn't have to be like this, you hear echoing from in the temple. It doesn't have to end in violence, but you forced my hand, and you hear just echoing as it melds with the roar of the she-bear. And that's going to be your turn. You can't see what she's doing.
All right. Laura Lynn, as you're watching the entrance to this temple, you catch a glint and you see movement. What do you do?
It's Mathais' turn, by the way.
Was it?
Yeah.
What, did I get out of order? No.
Oh.
No, Mathais is after this guy.
Oh, okay.
That
I thought Laura Lynn was going. That's why I was confused.
No. Laura Lynn saw this.
Do I get to actually do anything?
Only free action type stuff.
Well, I'm already hunkered down behind, I don't know, some sort of cover. I imagine about half cover.
Yeah. You definitely get half cover.
So I'm gonna I guess I'm just gonna stay there. There's not much else I can do.
Right. An arrow careens off of the stone that you are hiding behind. You instinctively twitch, and as you do, another arrow catches you. You hear that. You feel the. You don't really see it, but you feel it. It feels like someone has just punched you solid in the chest as you take 9 points of piercing damage.
Because Laura Lynn gives a real grunt, and then she kind of pulls herself together to get ready for whatever she's got to do next.
Right. Mathais, you're up. You could give me a what's your passive perception? Oh yeah, you would see it too, Mathais, from your vantage point on the stairs. You would see the archer kind of appear briefly. It's kind of just semi-shadowed, and he fires 2 quick arrows. and you hear a grunt coming from the direction where Laura Lynn was. What do you do?
I'm gonna take care of this bear that's trying to eat my leg. I'm
Yes,
gonna
just
scream in a war cry and just "Ah!" and hit it with both swords, stab it.
just crawling with snakes and just thrashing around rapidly.
This bear's
All
having a
right,
bad day.
first, hopefully. Okay, +5. That is a 20, all added up.
Oh yeah,
I rolled
yeah.
a 15, so.
Yeah, you
20.
easily hit this
And
bear.
then
This
second-
bear is not moving very fast at all.
Okay, I've got one more attack because I'm dual wield.
Wait, what was your damage though? I missed that. Sorry.
I didn't get my damage yet.
Yeah, why don't you give me
want
your
to
damage
roll
on?
damage?
Why don't you give me your damage on that first sword? Because you might possibly end this bear.
Okay. Okay. 1 to 8 + 3, 7.
Yeah, you drive your sword down into this bear, and it just kind of its legs almost like it almost goes boneless for a second as it drops on the stairs, and then almost miraculous, defying logic, this bear should be dead, but it pushes itself back up on its paws and it's growling at you. Make your second attack.
Oh, okay. Something's wrong here. I'm yelling to my friends. The second attack, you said?
Yeah, yeah.
Okay. Plus
AC
3,
is 11.
10.
Yeah, you rolled a 10.
No, it's 10 after I add 5 to it.
Oh, so yeah, as you hurriedly try to finish this bear off, maybe shaken a little bit by the fact that this bear isn't dead yet, your second sword blow just kind of grazes across its fur as these erythral snakes are whirling in and around and through its wounds and out of its mouth. You see like blood just starting to come down from this bear's maw as well. Laura Lynn, you're up. Actually, you have a move action too, Mathais. I'm not sure if you want to move or not. I don't want to take away your move if you want it.
I'm just going to kind of move back a little bit and just set myself as best I can on my hurt leg, but be ready for combat.
Perfect. Yeah, you kind of take this fighter's stance, something that you were trained many years ago when you took up the sword. Laura Lynn, you're up.
All right. Well, Laura Lynn sees this bear's almost dead, but not quite. She's got that mark on it, so she just pulls back her bow and aims the arrow, and it's 13 to hit. You said.
Are you shooting? What are you shooting? The bear?
Yeah, I'm shooting the bear, trying to finish it off.
Yeah,
And
your arrow hits it, and it strikes. Well, you can give me the death blow. Tell me where you hit it.
Yeah. Well, she pulls back her bow and she gets it right behind the shoulder, so the arrow just goes straight in the heart of this bear, just true as can be. And the bear just finally just shudders and collapses, almost in relief from all this craziness going on. And then Laura Lynn stops and she, for a second there, and she thinks and she looks. Can she actually see one of the other archers, or does she need to see them to move her hunter's mark onto it?
I'll give you a free insight check based on what you saw.
Okay. That's going to be 7.
7. You're not really sure. Everything's happening so quickly, and plus your chest is still on fire from this. What do you wear for armor, Laura Lynn?
What do I have? I have leather, just leather armor, nothing fancy at this point.
Yeah. So by some stroke of luck, the arrow is punched in through the leather, but it kind of careened off to the side, so it didn't punch as deeply into you, not getting into your lungs. But you
yeah.
I imagine you would either snap it off, much like Swee did, or yank it out. It's not actually penetrated deeply into your flesh.
I'll probably just yank it out then.
Yeah, so that you would
Another
not.
grunt.
So one of the things you would see, Sui, maybe from your vantage point, you're tucked in behind this statue and you're watching, and you see Mathais fighting this bear. You see Laurelyn put it down, and you catch. By all accounts, you only see one archer. It's just one archer that seems to have ungodlike speed in how he fires his bow.
That one archer has made a very large mistake then in letting himself be seen. And Sui realizes that even if you have great skill, and she kind of puts this away for later, even if you have great skill, that doesn't mean that you're actually skilled in using that said skill. And with
That's
that
awesome,
in
Sui,
mind,
because it is your turn.
yes, I would hope so. The blood from the wound is crawling up her skin like a teardrop up her face and into one of the feathers, dyeing it red. She looks at where the archer is, and she hisses and draconic and abyssal, him. And when she whispers that, the corpse of the bear convulses, and then it twitches. And then, Mathais, you see in front of you these hundreds of ethereal snakes just explode from within it. You see bits of gore go this way and that way as the bear is just twitching and seizing on the ground as this great horde of snakes goes up into the temple, wrapping around the outside of it, and then funneling into a single point as they go directly into the mouth of that archer. And does an 18 hit him with my Eldritch Blast?
Nah. Yeah, of course it does.
No way, dude. So that's going to be a total
full plate and a shield.
I imagine the archer is freaking out as these snakes are forcing their way into his mouth, and then he doesn't quite realize that beam, that bolt of energy that Sui looses at him, that strikes him directly in the solar plexus at the same time with the Eldritch Blast. And as she does so, the snakes in his stomach now are just writhing and trying to tear his intestines, the stomach to pieces. So he's going to suffer a total of 18 points of damage. It was 12 from the Eldritch Blast and 6 from the Hex.
Yeah. Well, just finish him off, Sui, because you did.
Dead? Okay. I love
one
it.
Shot.
It's perfect. Mathais, you would hear this scream above you as his body falls, hits the stairs. He's convulsing just horribly, seizing like the bear was. And then you see his body just kind of shoot up like this. And then the snakes just slowly and painfully crawl out from his abdomen and encircle his body, just consuming him as they do so, leaving nothing but a bloody smear beside you. And then with a movement,
I'd like to throw in a reaction.
Go ahead.
As the bear is being killed, as the bear is dying and exploding, I'm like, yeah! And then I watch the snakes go flying up into the air towards that archer, and I'm like, go, 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 pumping my fist in the air. And then when the archer swallows all those snakes and then falls to the ground, Mathais is like, ha! Oh, did him hurt him with himself?
As Mathais is making this commentary, I imagine the blood from the archer just going down the temple steps, and then the camera would be focused on the last step where Sui's foot just comes and steps into the puddle, and she uses her movement to begin moving by Mathais.
Yes, I love it. And just so you know, Mathais, things like that, anytime between turns, those are like free actions, yelling something, reacting, those things. As long as it's not a mechanical action, yeah, you can do stuff like that, no problem.
Okay.
Yeah, I got twisted.
I got so lost in that, I totally lost my order of combat here. All right, so back to Sly. This large brutish man is he's got blood running from his ears. He's got blood running down his right thigh. He turns and he says, "I'm gonna gut you," and rushes forward to try to take you out, Sly. And he does hit you both times for 11 points of damage as he slams his hand axe into your shoulder. You're able to just move enough so that he doesn't remove your arm from your chest. And as you do that, you feel a sharp burning pain as he drives his short sword up into your gut. And that will end his turn.
Is that my turn?
It is, yes. It is now.
Yeah. Just as the blunt force of this hand axe sinking into Sly's right shoulder, he kind of falls to a knee, and then the short sword coming up right after it, kind of sliding across his armor and cutting deep into his side, just barely missing a vital point enough to kill him. He just Sly, now bleeding profusely. He stumbles backwards and very painfully stands up, and he's just holding his right arm, and his left leg barely able to hold himself up. It kind of shakes every few seconds, kind of convulsing a little bit. He's going to grab his flute from his right hand. He'd never let go of it. Never let go of his flute. And he's going to take it in his left, and he looks very sternly at this man who just nearly killed him in one fell swoop. And he says to him, "That wasn't very nice at all." And Sly's going to take the flute around to his back, and he's going to kind of stick it into this, I guess you'd say, little divot in the bottom of his lute that he normally plays. And it kind of clicks into place. He's going to turn it and kind of pull out, attached to the end of his flute, he's going to pull out this long, thin metal blade. And he's going to pull it in front with his left hand and kind of take a fencing pose. And he's drawn his trusty rapier. And he's going to make a swift jab at this man. Try to take out maybe his other leg. And that's a 16 to hit. You're muted.
Yeah. So as Sly goes to do that, he misses the leg. He actually, the man in his fervor to kill you, Sly, overcompensates and actually leaves his stomach open. So it's not his leg that you hit; it's his stomach. You drive your rapier up into his stomach. Give me damage.
Yeah, Sly takes the opportunity and gets a pretty clean shot, dealing 7 damage.
Yeah. So tell us, what does it look like as this guy dies?
So he kind of he bloodied Sly and probably was a little bit overconfident after landing this hit. A little bit blinded by his rage after being bested at Sly sliding between his legs, sticking the dagger in there, and Sly will, as they're kind of facing off, and he pulls out his rapier. I imagine that the guy kind of went to go maybe make another attack, and Sly just very swiftly one lunge step forward, and then just a swift thrust deep into his gut, and he's going to pull his blade out quickly, kind of like toss it to the side to get some of the blood off the end, and just watch him as he collapses.
Yeah, his weapons just fall from his hands. He still has life in his face, but he knows he's dead. He knows you've struck the mortal blow. He reaches with his left hand and he tries to cover the wound. He drops to his knees, which brings him almost level with you. He just kind of looks at you like, and then he falls dead.
Sly avoids making eye contact with him, kind of looking past him as much as possible to, as to not show any emotion or anything as to this.
Oh, from the Sui school. I like it. And you hear a scream, a woman scream off in the battlefield. And you see that same woman that was charging with this man break free of one of the watchmen as she kills him and starts running towards you. And Brithwin, it is back to you.
Wait, I thought I went back into the temple.
You did.
Okay, cool. Yeah, she's going to sit and wait, and she yells out, "I'm a businesswoman, and the businesswoman always carries insurance." And you just hear, "Help! She's going to kill me! Help me!" And you recognize that's Agatha, and
Yeah.
it's coming from deep within the temple.
Mathais, you definitely hear that very, you know Agatha's voice. You spend so much time together. You hear her agonized screams. You black bitch. That's so evil.
I'm gonna run up to the doors. The doors are still closed, right?
Oh, there are no doors. There are no doors. This is an old, dilapidated temple. They've long since rotted away. It's just an open doorway.
I'm gonna
an open doorway with this kind of grotesque, seething, dead archer just inside it.
which is still funny to me, or to Mathais. I'm gonna step up and stand to the side like I did at Agatha's house. I'm gonna kind of stand to the side of the entrance and kind of peer into the pool to see what I see.
Yeah, I'm gonna let the black bitch describe what you see as you peer into this abandoned temple.
Inside the temple, you see runic hieroglyphics to an old god. Seems to represent shadow and darkness. You see what used to be a large stained glass window at the end of the temple. Off to the right, you see a. It seems like a new wooden door. It's closed, and you see faint firelight peeking out from underneath it.
Still my go?
It is, sir.
I'm gonna kind of creep up, trying to circle around the edge of the room so that I keep my back to the wall, but approach that door.
Yeah, it would be to your right. So if you well, I don't know if you have the image I sent you earlier. So it would be the room off to the right of the larger temple. That's where the doorway. That's where the door is, with the light coming out from underneath it. So you're gonna creep towards that one, staying close to the wall.
Yes.
Perfect. Brynwith, is there anything else that you would do on your turn?
No. I think you would hear her screaming about how she's getting threatened, and then suddenly you just hear almost as if she got what's it?
Gagged,
muffled. Yeah. Perfect. All right. So you move in. You're gonna double your move. So you're gonna go 30 feet, moving cautiously.
All right.
Yeah. Wait. Perfect. Excellent. Laura Lynn, you're up.
Waiting for this to demute. Yeah, I'm going to going after Mathais. I'm going to step inside the door.
Yeah, as you run up, you would see the exact same thing, Laura Lynn, and you would see Mathais moving methodically around, though cautiously around the outer wall to your right.
Okay, I think maybe I don't know if I can really picture this quite, but can I move around like to the left so that I end up on the other side. He's on the right side of the door. I'm on the left, kind of thing.
You can.
Oh, before I actually move inside there, I'd like to roll a perception check just to see if I can see anything dangerous
Sure.
or
Why don't you do that? That's a good idea.
what's going on. Not really. It's not a great idea at all. Hold it.
Tick tock.
Oh,
You
give me a
hear echoing
second.
from the room.
Yeah, that doesn't help. Be nice. I'm only a level 2 gump. Okay, that's going to be a total of 8.
Yeah, your eyes really are affixed to the door and to Matthias moving his way to the door. What is it Laurelyn does?
Okay, well then she's still going to kind of cut around to the other side of the door. I don't know. I don't
Okay.
really know how much wall there is there for her to stick to, or if there's other entrances.
The wall seems the way you're swinging around, the wall seems rather intact, whereas a portion of the wall that Matthias had to move around had kind of collapsed, and there were some trees that had, and nature is starting to take over that side of the temple.
Okay. So there's no
Sweet.
doors or anything for anybody to come out, or
there's no door there, but there is a doorway on the left side. But you see there's no light or anything coming from that half of the temple.
And can I get all the way to the door, the closed door?
Oh yeah, if you wanted to cut right across the floor, you could definitely double your movement and get to the door ahead of Matthias if you wanted to.
I would probably want to be there about the same time he is, because I'll back him up.
Okay, so you get to about middle of the temple floor, and then you kind of stop, maybe taking cover behind this large, still almost intact. And you would say it's probably at some point this was probably a temple to some long elven deity. They looks familiar to you, but you really don't have time, given the pressing situation, to really examine it. But you kind of take cover behind this large statue in the center of the room.
All right. Cool.
And Sui, you're up.
The camera is focused on the doorway of the temple. Sui Startle stands in that doorway. The camera shifts, and you can only see her mouth. As she speaks, her canines grow long and become needles, like snake fangs. And she coos out, "Black Beach, can you hear me?"
Yes, I can.
My name is Sui Startle. I would like to speak
I know
with
who
you.
you are.
That is good. Then I will cut to the chase with you, Black Beach. Or do you have another name you would rather I call you?
You can call me whatever you want.
I will make this as simple as I can. You're a businesswoman. Businesswomen or businessmen, in my experience, like to keep things to the point. You have in your possession a woman that is valuable to Matthias. I, however, do not care for that woman's life. Black Beach, if you kill her, Matthias will kill you, and I will assist. But I would like to offer you a chance out of these. Throw down your weapons, give up the woman, and come before the guard. Let them imprison you for a while. And then you will return, you will be free. You will go find another fortress to hunt, and you will find other bandits to master, and you will leave the Shadowdales, and you will find a new place to be the bandit queen.
You can almost feel her smile on the other end of this telepathic bond. And she says, "Finally, you're willing to talk. Well, if you know business, then you know that it should be done face to face. Come inside, come into my office, and perhaps we can strike a deal. You and I both know I don't need to die today."
Before I do that, I am no fool. I could smell the weapon in your hand. Let me hear it hit the ground.
You hear a weapon drop to the ground, and you see the door open. You see the door open, and you see that there's like a large fire on the inside from a fireplace. You can't see the woman or Agatha.
Can also, when Sweet Startle moves to the doorway, she doesn't move into the vision of the doorway, just to the very edge of it. She has enough room. She has enough room to move to the actual doorway. Yes, Lionel.
Yeah.
Okay, so she moves to the edge of the doorway. When she does, Black Bitch, you're going to feel a presence, and it's going to feel like you hear hissing, but there's no actual hissing. It's just a presence at the edge of the doorway, a lurking specter, if you would. Sweet Startle stops at the edge of it. If Matthias and Laurelin looking at her, they will see the feathers all blood red. And they're growing now. They're growing down and intermingling through her hair. If you look her in the eyes, you see multiple irises, all green, all with those slitted pupils in them. You see her fangs dripping with poison. You see feathers and scales manifesting around her as she is beginning to manifest her Fey presence traits. And she summons forth the appearance of Eats Coatl, and she steps into the light of the doorway. And the moment she does, the Black Witch needs to make a wisdom saving throw, DC 13 when she sees her. And I'll say the effect depending on if she fails or passes.
All right. When you step into the doorway, you see a tall-backed red chair facing away from you. You see a crossbow and a woman's frame peeking out from the chair, pointing at your friend Agatha. I suggest you stop right there.
And did you pass the wisdom saving throw?
Does she have to see you? Does she have to see you?
Oh, she's not looking. Yeah, she's not looking. No, it's fine.
It sounds like there's a crossbow pointing down at a bound Agatha, and she's back to you.
Yeah, it's fine. So then, seeing that her back is to her, she would just coo out again. This is not face to face, Black Beach.
You can almost feel an oozing contempt. Well, I like to speak directly.
Black Beach, I come to you as a fellow businesswoman. Turn to me into business. Let us not play games any longer. We both have things we would rather do than being in this god-forsaken temple.
I will play whatever games I want until I'm out of here, alive and free. And you can almost feel the crossbow jangling.
Black Beach, your back is turned to me. Even if you pull the trigger and kill Agatha, I would have killed you as well. Is the game really worth it?
Does your friend want to take that chance?
It is not about the wants anymore, Black Beach.
Oh, so Matthias, you hear this conversation. Is this a loud conversation, or are you doing a thing?
No, Matthias and Laurelin would both hear this, and they would also see this weird transformation.
So Matthias,
yeah,
you hear Swee basically tell the Black Bitch, kill Agatha, I don't care. I'll kill you. How does Matthias react to that? You know, you're probably about maybe 10 feet back from where Swee is standing in this doorway, and Laura Lynn, you're about as close as well. Maybe you've taken a couple of steps closer as Swee kind of swept past the two of you. What is both of your reactions to this?
I'm not going to say anything. I'm just going to be. I have the intense look on my face, and I'm trying to kind of creep into the room as nonchalantly as possible and as quietly and as
quietly as you can in splint armor.
I imagine that as he's like moving forward, Laura Lynn would just not Laura Lynn. We would just raise our arms.
Stay back.
And we're going to cut scene right there and see what happens to the fate of poor Sly. Sly, as we last left you, this bandit woman, probably angered because you probably killed her mate, is just barreling down on you with this wicked club. It's already slick with blood and running at you. Sly, what do you do?
Sly, as the captain of these bandits had fell to the ground, Sly just looking kind of off into the distance, back turned to the rest of the fight. He kind of zoned out a little bit, and he probably hears some sort of a struggle, and then maybe a battle cry as this woman starts to uh, barrel towards him. He kind of looks back, and now it sets in. He's like, not in a good spot. Um, he with his blade in hand, he's going to kind of lumber over the body of this larger bandit, and he's going to take his blade and stick it face down into the dirt and quickly unscrew his flute from the metal portion of the blade, and then start to kind of play a melodious tune with his back up against the back of this bandit, probably hiding most of his body, maybe just some of his hair or the top of his head is showing over, and his blade is definitely sticking up a few inches over the body of this dead bandit. He's going to cast Cure Wounds on himself, try and heal up a little bit, get in a better spot.
Okay.
And that's for 9 points.
Yeah. So what's it look like as you heal yourself, Sly?
Probably with the whole fight and everything going on, maybe the only person who would see anything would be this woman barreling towards him. As he just kind of like hops over the dead body of her probably lover, and sticks his blade into the ground, unscrews it. He just cops a squat and starts to play this tune. This kind of air about him starts to swirl around. Some of his hair, his longer, dirtyish blonde hair, starts to kind of float up a little bit as he just plays this tune, and just kind of a warm aura starts to emit from him, and her, if anything, she would probably just kind of feel the warmth of it.
Yeah, perfect. She kind of slows a bit, remembering that you were called a wizard, but she looks at your feet, seeing the dead man, and she kind of just grits her teeth and just raises the club up over her head, running at you. Perfect. And back to you. Actually, no, let's finish this scene because we played quite a bit of scene with the others. So she comes running at you, Sly, to brain you. The club coming up, swinging down at you, just about to connect with your head. And all of a sudden, she just stops. And she falls dead, just 5 feet short of you, crossbow bolt sticking out of her back. In the distance, you can see Captain Barnes has fired the bolt that killed her. And with that, you look around, Sly, and you see the battle is done. The few bandits that are left have been brought to heel by the watch, though only 6 of them remain.
Sly, as he heard this woman getting closer and closer, he's this Cure Wounds is this spell that he's cast through this music has made him feel much better about the gaping hole in his shoulder and his side. And then as he hears her yelling this club over her head, and then he just hears a bit of a silence, as she was probably the last one standing at that point. And he quickly, his eyes open from his song, and he gets up and he turns around, and he just sees her as she falls to the ground, and he would see Captain Barnes aiming down his sights, and he kind of pulls him down. He pulls down his crossbow, and he kind of grins at Sly, kind of more of a devilish grin than a helpful one at that. And Sly sighs as he knows that now he's indebted a tad more to Captain Barnes. He was kind of hoping it might have been somebody else, but it had to be Barnes, of course.
You don't miss it, Sly. You can see the look on his face, even from this distance, even in the dark. He says, "That's another one you owe me." That's all the look says as he lowers his crossbow and he looks across at his men. And he starts barking orders. And the men start to make sure those that are dead and bind those that you guys have captured.
Yeah, and Sly kind of like hangs his head a little bit and he stomps the foot. He says, "Shit." And he's gonna go over and latch his flute back onto the end of his blade and sheath it into the back of his this back compartment of his lute. Take his flute off and holster it, and then immediately rush over to the rest of his men and see what the damage is.
Perfect, and that's when the camera would fade from this scene and back to the room in the temple where the other three heroes are now confronting the black bitch, Brithwin.
You know, Sly had said you would be more reasonable than this. Perhaps you could be persuaded to help me destroy these men. Give bandits a bad name. See, now he was mistaken. Oh, we're in quite a pickle, aren't we?
Black
Listen,
Beach. Pause.
I will give you Agatha if you allow me to leave.
Black Beach. I do not feel tension. I do not feel desperation. I do not feel mercy or pity or any of these things that you may feel from time to time. All I know is that there are things that must be done for other things to have an effective outcome.
Do you know why there weren't any snakes outside?
Tell me why, Black Beach.
Sly had told me. And I hired a harpy to hunt the area of snakes, so you wouldn't be able to see inside the camp.
And where is that harpy now?
You don't need to know that.
You seem confused. You tell me what I do not need to know. But you are not me, Black Beach. I will ask you again if you want this deal to happen. Where is the harpy now?
All right. So I think at this point it would be opposed roles. So everyone, the three of you or if you guys would hear what she says. So definitely you, Sui, Mathais, and I would assume Laura Lynn as well. You would have to. It would be opposed roles if you wanted to find out her persuasion versus you guys determining if she's deceiving you.
Lionel, do you want me to roll like in another roller and tell you what I get?
Yes, please.
All right.
So can I roll deception, like it's like the see-through deception with my own knowledge?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep.
Oh, hell yeah. Okay. I'm glad I took proficiency in that.
All right, I sent it.
How deep do the deceptions go?
All right, Mathais and Laura Lynn, I need you both to give a roll too before I kind of role play out what happens from
Perception.
You could use perception or insight would probably be a skill you could use. Or in the case of like Sui, he believes that she's deceiving him or her. So it was a opposed deception rolls. Because in case you guys haven't been paying attention, I think Sui's doing a little bit of deception too here. Come on out, girl. I want to talk to you.
Insight and persuasion are both wisdom, so I guess it doesn't matter.
Yeah, so just give it a go.
14.
Yeah. So Sui, you're unshaken by what the black bitch is telling you. Mathais and Laura Lynn, not so much so. Her words ring true to you. probably striking even harder against you, Matthias, because you've been traveling with Sly the longest. Sly deceived us, told her that we were coming, that Sui could bend the wills of snakes. So so with that, you guys give us some further insight as you both fail your rolls.
Yes, he's gone off on his own much, hasn't he? Can't keep an eye on them all the time. You hear just like sickeningly sweet from behind the chair.
Carol, you're muted on your microphone, on your headset.
Oh, thank you. I always do that and then forget. Sorry. Yeah, Laura Lynn's like, she's looking at the black bit. She's looking at Sui. She is confused. I mean, she starts to remember the problems that Sly's gotten into and starts to wonder, really, would he do that? But she also knows the black bitch is bad business, whether Sly's ratting on him or not.
Mm-hmm.
So she's still at like full alert.
Do you wonder who tipped me off to the caravans? It was he.
And Laura Lynn's like, whether he did something or not, I know who you are. You're
Yes,
the
you
leader of the
do.
bandits, and they've attacked my people, and you need to face the law.
And who
If at all.
will enforce that law? You? Your friends?
I will fight if I have to, and we'll take you into the law if we can. And we'll deal with Sly when that needs to be dealt with. If there's anything that needs to be done.
What is it that drives you? Why do you come into the forest to seek out an old woman who does nothing but steal? Steals.
Steal people, threaten to kill them. Kidnapping, that's not stealing.
Do you see people imprisoned in my camp? No.
You have Agatha.
Yes, because I wanted to draw you in to speak with you, to give you an offer. You're the only ones who are competent in this town, jackasses. You dealt with my men quickly enough. They're all incompetent. But you,
I'm
I know
driven,
you are ones who can get things done.
but I believe in the law. And upholding it. And you don't. We have a fundamental disagreement.
Suppose so. Seems we're at an impasse. Here's the offer. You allow me to go, or I kill your friend.
Sweet looks to Matthias. What has been Matthias's like mind about this the entire time?
And you just see Agatha like struggling against the chains and like she's trying to say something from her gag, but you can't quite hear.
Yeah, really. Give us some insight into your mind, Matthias.
I'm as like a hard piece of rock. My jaw is firmly set, and you can see that I'm barely able to control my anger. I say to the black bitch, I'll make you a counteroffer. You let my friend go now unharmed, or I will cut your head clean off.
Tough talk. I don't see you enacting it.
Okay. I've got my swords out and ready already. And I just take a step toward the chair.
All right.
Sweet holds out a hand for Matthias to stop, and she hopes that he listens, but she watches to see if he does or does not.
Now,
You take a step.
the black bitch is still facing away from us, right?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so I still have an arrow on her.
Okay.
Does Matthias stop when Sweet holds up her hand or no?
I'm gonna wait, pause a moment to see how the black bitch reacts to my counteroffer.
She doesn't move.
I should have called her the stone cold black bitch because she's stone cold, man.
The choice is yours.
Black Beach, did you know the leader of these bandits before he was disposed?
Yes.
You did. Did you see his corpse?
No.
It was melted. Through the stomach, through the throat, through the jaw, down into the lungs, into the heart. It killed him painfully and slowly. But the beautiful thing about the human body, or elf if you happen to be elf, or whatever you may be, Black Beach, is that when acid melts through the body, you can do it in ways that does not kill quickly. You can do it in ways that does not kill at all, but simply leaves the person alive, a leper, a shell, a broken thing. Black Beach, I will not threaten you. I will not make you any offers. I'm going to tell you what I'm going to do. I'm going to spit poison at you. The poison will melt through that chair, melt through your back, and begin to melt through you in quick time. If it does not, I will continue to spit more poison, and I will do this again and again and again until you no longer have legs or arms. And then I will ask you again, Black Beach, if you're ready to face the law, and if you still disagree, then I will go ahead and summarily execute you, whether you shoot Agatha or not. Now, Black Beach, I advise you to go ahead and prepare yourself because I can assure you that this will hurt. And the moment she says that, Lionel, she's going to open her mouth and cast poison spray directly on the black bitch from behind.
Okay.
Constitution saving throw from you, black bitch, of a DC 13.
Okay.
Lionel, you want me to roll?
Yeah. Well, it's you. You should
All right.
you should roll.
7 plus. Okay. 9.
So she takes.
So this first,
Go ahead.
so Sweet. So this first blow, because of the chair providing some cover, is going to take some of the damage. But roll up the damage, please.
The damage she rolled was 9, and I'll describe it after you tell me how the chair absorbs it.
Yeah. So I'm gonna have the chair absorb half of the damage. So it's going to cause, what is it? Round up or round down for damage? Round down.
Round down.
Yeah. So she's going to take 4 of this acid poison damage. Now, what is the range? Is it a single spray? Or would any hit Agatha on the ground?
It would not hit Agatha. It's a single. It's like a thin, like you know how like vipers spit poison. It's exactly like that.
Yeah.
So So it definitely hits her. It kind of just burns right through this chair.
And I'll
You just hear her like screaming in pain, and
for reference, I'm doing only non-lethal damage until the end of this combat.
Okay. Oh gods! I'm dancing!
You see the crossbow fall out of her hands and onto the floor.
Oh gods, what have you done to me? Oh gods!
I
She's
told
just
you to
like
prepare yourself.
screaming in pain.
Man. That is great.
And then, of course, we will also have a hand on Mathais' back, kind of pulling him back because she looks at him and she says, "You will have the final blow, I promise you. But first," and she's going to turn her head, and unless someone stops her, she's going to spit more poison directly at the black bitch, which be another DC 13 Constitution saving throw.
All
Well,
right, hold on. We're going to zip back to the campsite. We're going to keep this in initiative orders, but we're not technically in combat right now. So I don't want people to feel like they have to follow any kind of initiative order.
Shit.
Yeah. So back in the at the site where the battle. Oh my gosh, I'm totally freaking tripping over my own tongue here. Let me start over. Back with the men of the watch and Sly. The bandits have been properly disposed of or manacled. The men that were wounded and still alive have had their wounds tended to. What is it you, Captain Barnes, and the remainder of the men of the watch do, Sly? See, that was much better.
So, what are the damages as far as both sides? Because Sly's
So you have 3 live bandits. All of them are wounded, but they've been manacled. All of the men of the watch have some semblance of wounds, but they're still fight worthy. But there's only 6 of them left. Barnes is the same way. Barnes, he's like, oh, I could still fight, but you could tell that he has a couple of wounds that, if given the choice, he would he would choose not to fight. But he does tell you that they will fight if need be. But so you guys have 6 and 3.
okay. Sly goes around to make sure everybody who's dead is dead. Not killing them if they aren't, but if he senses that maybe they might be able to make it, trying to get them medical attention, because he wants as few casualties as possible. That goes for both sides as well. He would tend to the guards before any bandits, but he would tend to the bandits as eagerly as he would any of the guards, doing whatever he can, his basic, just basic standard knowledge as far as medicine, just trying to make sure that everybody stop the bleeding, on anybody who might be bleeding out or anything, trying to salvage as much as he can, trying to keep as little bloodshed as possible. Those 3 bandits that were left, he would have bound and tied to probably the stump that he was standing on before, to be honest.
Yeah. So the men of the watch actually brought iron manacles that they've put along their ankles and wrists in the for this exact thing. If you should happen to take any alive.
Sure. And that's he would let them chain them up and essentially assess the damage of his men. Are there any of them that you said all of the remaining guards are wounded fairly well? I mean, decently.
Yeah. So
okay.
roll me a d6, Sly.
Sure. That's a 4.
Okay. As you all are kind of going through this and you're tending to these wounds, there's a stillness about the forest. I mean, the rain has stopped. The air just feels damp and moist with the previous rainfall. You can smell the decay of centuries of leaf and other tree fall that has rotted into the earth. And then you hear it. It's very quiet at first. This melodious, beautiful music rolling slowly into this small clearing that you're in. You have to make a let me see, what is it? Give me a wisdom save, please. And as this music slowly starts to raise in volume and tempo, you see 4 of the men say, "It's so lovely," and they immediately start walking off into the woods towards the sound of the music. And so do you, Sly. You're like, this is one of the most beautiful songs I have ever heard. Captain Barnes and the 2 other watchmen are like, what's on you fools? Where are you going? And you see them trying to grab them, but these men just are shrugging off as you are trying to go. And the 3 prisoners, even manacled, they're trying to like snake towards this sound, this music. What describe for us, Sly, what it's like as you fail this save and you find yourself charmed by this music and feel compelled to get near its source.
Yeah. So I imagine kind of a symphony of voice, and the music is just harmonies, just different notes, not any words, just kind of in different harmonies and undertones, and it is a beautiful sound, and at least to those enchanted by it, which would be Sly and these other guards. And Sly, probably hearing this immediately, is enchanted by it, and he starts to head towards it before the guards would even, kind of enthusiastically almost. He grabs his flute and goes to begin to play along, but is so enamored that he can't even manage that, and he just holds it in his hand and is just kind of swaying with the tempo and the motion of the sound, and just kind of spinning his way towards it with the other guards in tow. And to Captain Barnes and the remaining guard, this what sounds beautiful and enamoring to these 7 and Sly, it just sounds like awful screeching and screams to Barnes and this other guard, and they're like, what is that sound? And the rest of us kind of fleeting towards it, they're just completely lost and unaware of what's happening at all.
Perfect. Yeah. So we leave you kind of stumbling through the woods, roughly heading right back towards the bandit camp. Captain Barnes and his other 2 watchmen trying to bring some sense to you, shaking you guys, slapping you, and it seems to have no effect. And we go back to the temple, inside the temple.
What is Mathais doing as we has begun to melt Black Bitch?
Yes. Actually, I want Mathais to make a save now. A save. Especially when you see Sui actually cause harm to the Black Bitch, your sworn enemy, the one who captured your dearest, Agatha.
I need to make a saving throw.
Yeah. I would say it's a charisma save.
Okay. +1. 14.
Yeah, so I would say that's a save. So what does Mathais do? So you're not compelled beyond your own will to take action. So you have total agency. What does Mathais do?
As soon as that crossbow is no longer pointed at Agatha, Mathais attacks the Black Bitch with one purpose in life, and that's to behead her.
All right.
Awesome. Perfect. Yeah, as you step into the room.
Go ahead. So you charge into the room, and like as you come into the room, you see Agatha spit her gag out finally, and she shouts, "Mathais, save me! Save me!" And you charge in. And as you get close, Lionel, you want to describe it? All right. You peer over the top of the red chair, and you see Agatha, burnt by the acid, tied up with a gag in her mouth, and she's squirming around in pain and panic. She looks up, and her eyes kind of like calm a little bit when she sees you, and then by then it's too late, and you realize that you have been tricked, and you hear, Matthias, I waited for you. This is for Colered. And the black bitch, who was disguised as Agatha, rises and embraces you and attacks with inflict wounds. Is that a surprise round, Lionel?
Yes, for Matthias it is. Probably not so much for Sui. She was a little bit more on guard.
All right.
And Laura Lynn is out of the room. She's probably shocked, but not to the point where she couldn't take action on a normal round.
And she is going to use it as 3rd level. Oh God. That isn't good. All right, I'm gonna roll in the open. It was a 2nd level spell. Oh,
As we watch Matthias literally vaporize in front of us.
God. Oh.
That's literally enough damage to kill him outright from full HP, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What is the total on that, Dan?
17, 37, 30, 32, 34, 40. She says, you killed my Colered.
How many hit points did you have? You had 19.
Oh.
So yeah, you're dead outright. So Matthias, describe for us how this happens. So the black bitch leaps up from where you thought Agatha was, and where do you grab him, Brithwin?
She would probably kind of like he would peer over the chair and see that, and then he would just feel it like up into his stomach, and then like and just spit up blood, and she'd kind of like whisper in his ear, you took mine, now I take yours, and you will be taken into the eternal with this image in your mind. And she kind of like grabs your head and makes you look at her as she, like, the necrotic energy envelops you and kind of like makes your skin dry almost into a husk. Oof.
So Agatha looks up at you, Matthias. You see tears welling up in her eyes as she, you've kind of pulled your helmet up, and you guys lock eyes. And she's, no. What are the last thoughts that go through Matthias's mind before his mortal life is ended by the black bitch's magic?
Nothing, I guess. I don't really have anything.
So the rest of you see Matthias fall lifeless at the base of this high back chair. Standing over him, now revealed, is the black bitch. Let's see, I believe Laura Lynn, it is your turn.
And Laura Lynn is kind of shocked, although she sort of wondered if maybe, just maybe, there wasn't another fake Agatha, because she's seen that trick before. So she's not perhaps as shocked as she might be, but she's so mad she's almost shaking, and she manages to cast her hunter's mark on the black bitch and shoot, because now she's thoroughly angry.
Yeah, you transfer that onto her because it lasts for an hour.
Oh, okay, cool.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah.
So you transfer that to her, and you do have an arrow ready, so you definitely can get one off. and you have a clear shot.
And it's 25 to hit.
Yeah, that will hit.
Oh yeah, that definitely is.
For once in my life. No. And 16 damage.
16.
Yeah.
All right, nice. Okay.
Now, what difference is there not being in the room? Or is just someone going in the room trigger the whole thing?
There's he charged in and was like gonna attack, and when he got next to the chair, she struck from her ambush.
Gotcha. And that was bad.
And she just like has blood dripping down her arm and her hands, and she shouts, "Revenge is mine, Conrad! You've been avenged! Tear his soul limb from limb for me!" And she gets shot in the chest with an arrow. Ah! God. So whoever's next. Whew.
It's Sui. Sui, describe your hit is a nat 20.
Yeah. Sweet.
And you cause 23 points of damage. So describe it for us.
Sweet.
By
When
hand.
she sees Mathais charge in, she knows his mistake. In every encounter we've been in, she's always tried to control Mathais because she knows if she does not, he will kill himself. And as the black bitch's arm rips all vestiges of life from Matthias' body, she watches as if it was a scientist watching the dissection of a rat. Because she knew this would happen. She watched it happen, and she did nothing to stop it. She didn't put an arm out. She didn't say a word. She simply observed because she knew there was a chance that there was a possibility that the Agathas had switched again. And that's why she had not yet fully invoked the power of Itzcoatl. She had not moved the hex to either Agathas yet because she had to be sure. And so once this arrow hits, this raving black bitch talking about such useless things as love and revenge, Sweet Startle's eyes just flick over to her, dispassionately at best. The hissing comes from all around. It fills the room. The fire in the back of the room snuffs out. The hissing grows louder and louder. The black bitch will feel something crawling underneath her skin. She's going to feel as if snakes are in her stomach and her intestine, as if they're crawling into her lungs, as if they're inside of her. Very slowly, Swisaddle raises her left arm, and she points it at the black bitch, and she levels it, and she just whispers a word in abyssal. The Wansi. There's a flash of green light. And Dan, I want you to describe to me how it feels to have snakes tearing your body apart from the inside out.
Yeah, I feel like at this point she's just like cackling that she finally succeeded and drew Mathais in and killed the man that she grew to hate and had been scheming this entire time to kill. So I feel like she would just be like laughing as these snakes just like tear into her.
Oh, did he freeze?
Damn, Sweet, you're more damaging than I thought. You freaking kill people's internet.
After that's done, Sweet's going to also raise up her right hand, and she says to Laureline, "Do not kill her. Shoot for the legs, Laureline."
Laura, come on. Lauren Lynn through her gritted teeth is like, but if we don't kill her, she'll kill us.
Trust me, Laureline. When have I ever led you astray yet?
All right.
And I imagine Sweet's just talking
you're right.
perfectly calm.
Yeah, you're right, Marquis. If she's kind of like she's not a red shirt. So if she drops to 0, you guys could say,
Yeah.
that
And
you
I
don't kill her
imagine
outright.
as Sui is talking like perfectly calm, like you just had this cackling, like this cackle screaming in the background coming from the black bitch as Dan described, which I think is a pretty cool scene. And that ends my turn. And then Dan disconnects.
He didn't pay his intranet bill. Let's take a quick little break. Let's take a quick little break from the game. All right, he's back. Never mind. How are we doing on time here? All right, good. Hey, there's two Allisons. Hi, Allison. Oh, shoot, one's gone.
Goddamn changelings.
Hey, so Sly, why don't you give me another save, sir? Wisdom save.
All right. Another wisdom save on top of the D4 you had me roll?
Yeah.
All right. Got you. That one's a 17.
Yeah. So you're probably about 200 yards into the woods when you and what did you roll to 1? And 3 of the other guys kind of shake off this, and you're hearing that same kind of grating, unmelodious song. So there's just one of these watchmen that is still kind of like following it. The other men are able to tackle him and hold him down. You hear this scream of off in the woods, and it just kind of echoes and reverberates. You hear this flapping sound, and then it kind of fades, and then so does the song, leaving you in the quiet of the wood again. And as it fades, reason returns to the man, the watchman that had been tackled by his friends.
Yeah, as they were kind of heading along the path towards this sound, Sly just very kind of giddily following along with the music again. He finally musters up the courage, I suppose, to start playing his flute. And as he does, he starts playing the exact notes that he had been hearing. It was a repeating pattern, a repeating song, and he starts to play the exact notes on his flute. And as he does, he starts to play more and more, and they probably go 1 or maybe 2 times through this loop, and then he sort of wakes from he sort of regains his consciousness and continues playing, and now he hears this horrible screeching sound, and he's kind of looking, his eyes darting back and forth as the other guards kind of start to snap out of it too, hearing Sly's song probably just counteracting this enchantment, and then they kind of quickly realize and tackle this other guy to the ground. But Sly's still playing his song until he hears the beating of wings flapping off into the distance to the song no more. At which point he holds his flute, he lays off his flute and just kind of looks in the direction that he heard it go and kind of stares confused and curious at the same time as to what the hell just happened.
Yeah, and you may never know, Sly, because you never saw, you only heard that you probably will remember that sound, that screeching sound and the flapping of wings, but you never saw that which created the melody.
He just hears it, and that song, both the beautiful one and the horrible one, engraved into his memory.
Cool. So what is it you would do? Are you guys are heading to the bandit camp now that you've?
Yeah, at this point, is Barn and the other guard caught up with them, with the bandits in tow, or?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah. So he would probably look to Barnes and say, and kind of direct, 3 of you stay here, the rest come with me, and kind of instruct 3 of them, 1 for each of the bandits, to stay with the bandits, and the rest of them head towards the bandit camp to back up Sui, and Barn, and the other guard. And then they kind of Matthias and Laurelyn.
Perfect. So that's where we'll leave you. Back in the chamber of the Black Bitch. Sorry, Dan, you cut out just at like one of those key moments.
Yeah.
Pick up where Brithwin was.
So Brithwin's getting eaten by snakes, and she has an arrow sticking out of her shoulder. And she's laughing to the heavens. She says, "Fools! You'll never catch me." And she disappears. And the door slowly closes, and you see this black sword advance towards you, Sui. Spiritual weapon. As you hear footsteps running out the door.
So she's gonna run like through me? Like how big is the doorway? Cause I have no idea actually how big the doorway.
Yeah, it's probably about a 6. It's like a big temple doorway, so it's probably about 6 foot.
Okay.
Across.
Okay. So the spiritual weapon kind of like pushes the door from where it was and kind of like pushes it out of the way, and it's gonna attack you for a 16 to hit.
That'll hit.
Okay. Oh Jesus. And that's gonna be 12 damage, I think. Hold on. Yeah, that's 12. So it kind of like catches you by surprise as the door kind of swings inward. The sword kind of cleaves down and strikes at you, doing 12 damage.
12 slashing.
Okay, and she's gonna be booking it.
Okay. So she vanishes from sight. And that would bring us up to Laura Lynn. It's your turn.
Okay. No, she actually went invisible.
Yeah. She invoked her channel divinity.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Makes her invisible until she makes an attack, or how does it work?
She is invisible until the end of her next turn.
So I can't actually see her. I can't see her go by either.
You can't see her.
You
see the sword like pop out of you, though.
You could make an attack based on where you think she was, but the attack would be at a disadvantage.
All right, I'm going to do that. So much for my last roll. I'll just start over. Let's see what happens. I'm going to shoot an arrow where I feel the wind go by. And that's, well, I'll be very surprised if that hits. 12.
Nope, that misses.
I didn't think that was going to hit.
Yeah, your arrow just flies unimpeded until it cracks and snaps off one of the temple walls.
Yeah, I could just see me kind of swirling, feeling that wind and just shooting one off, and it really didn't do much.
Sui, you're up. So you were shut into this room. What did you do?
So Sui currently has a black sword that has run her through in the stomach. I like to imagine that's actually pinned her to the door. And as it rips itself out, she kind of stumbles forward for a second, throwing up blood onto the ground as the door swings behind her. But even as it swings open again, even though her body is in a catastrophic amount of pain right now, it's just that same instinctual, not instinctual, that same intellect moving her. She backs out, still kind of stumbling, using the wall of the temple to keep herself steady, bleeding profusely, knowing that she is very close to death. But even as she goes closer to death, each Kuato's power grows stronger in her. And since she never used it earlier, the beguiling presence, she's going to use it now. And she's going to be moving because she knows that this woman just disappeared and the door closed. The woman is not going to stay in the room. And if she is, that's fine with Sweet because she's going to move her beguiling presence with her out through the doorway of the temple. So, assuming she's booking it through the front of the temple, as Sui is now running in that direction now. You would see Sui's blood actually rise up like a mask of feathers around her. Imagine like how the Mayans wore those great crowns of feathers that sprouts above her head. The blood becomes scales on her face and up her neck. You see her again, her eyes glowing jade. And if she's going to be anywhere within 10 feet of the black bitch when she ends her movement, the black bitch will have to make a wisdom saving throw.
You reach out to your deity and you feel her presence as she fills the temple that is only a husk, as its god has left it. However, you do not feel the quaking of fear of a living being within the area of your attack.
You were charming her this time, though, right?
Yeah, I was going for a charm.
Yeah, but yeah, she would not be within the realm of your influence.
Knowing that she's outside of that, then Sui is going to stop at the stairs of the temple, still bleeding profusely, one hand on her gut, but her eyes just somehow calmly scanning the camp, looking out, waiting for the black bitch to reappear.
Yeah, the first thing you see, Sui, is you see a complement of men of the town watch, and leading them, you see your little companion, Sly. Their numbers much diminished.
Can I shout for them to stay in the pass, like the fill the pass?
You have agency, Sui. You can do whatever you want.
Seeing them in the pass, she just shouts directly at them, "Stop moving and stand there." She's hoping the black bitch is still in the camp somewhere and hasn't gotten out yet.
Sly, as he's running, he sees Sui on the stair steps holding her gut, and as she says this out to him, he's just kind of still in this adrenaline pumping mode. You know, the cure wounds kind of just gave him more of a vitality than anything, and he continues running straight for her. He says, What was it?" And
Stop moving!
whether the guards hear Sui or not, Sly just barreling towards her to try and treat her wounds.
Yeah, the guards definitely hear what Sui is saying. Barnes reach out to grab you, Sly, but you're too fast and he misses. Yeah. But the guards just kind of fan a second.
Sly would continue making his way across the camp towards Sui as quickly as he could.
Yeah. What does he see in Sui as this little this well-meaning halfling comes barreling ass towards you, Sui?
Sui feels something she does not like to feel, and it's just a tinge in the back of her head, so faint that it might not be there, but it feels like agitation and emotion, and her eye twitches, and she just spits out more blood, and she drops her arm just to let Sly do what he has to do, knowing that he won't stop no matter what. And her eyes continue to scan, and she makes it a point not to tell him that Mathais is dead on the inside of the temple.
Perfect. Yes. What'd you get on your roll, Carol? Laurelyn, sorry.
Waiting for this thing to work right. A total of 24.
Yeah. You search, your elven eyes quickly scan the floor looking, and it's only then that you notice the scuffs on the dust on the base at the top of the altar at the northernmost part of this temple. And then you see some foliage has been disturbed on the window. You surmise that the black bitch, Brithwin, escaped through that window. You look out and you search. Give me a perception roll.
Okay. 12.
I believe you have advantage because you're in the forest.
Yeah, well, even with that, I only rolled a 12.
Yeah,
Remember,
you
you also have inspiration if you want to.
You do have inspiration.
Oh, yes, I want to use that. Absolutely.
Though I think technically, if you
You
have
only get
advantage,
2,
you can't
though.
use inspiration. But I'll let it go this time.
Okay. All right, because now we're talking. That was perception, right? Yeah. That a total of 20, not natural.
Yeah. So you look, and you can definitely see the path that she had taken, but you do not see her.
I call out, she went this way.
Yeah, and you see
I start.
Sui standing in the doorway, just kind of just robotically standing there as you see Sly has now rejoined you, and you see him just tending to her hurts.
I kind of chalk that up mentally to Sly's favor in the whole confusion issue.
So,
yeah. Give me an
real
insight
quick.
roll too
For
Real
who?
quick, as
for you, Morlin.
I know she's made that roll. Is this transformation thing that Sweet has going on? Is that like just a visible thing to all?
It's gone. By the time you guys would have got there, it would have faded away.
Got it.
But it was something that was seen by Matthias and Laura Lynn, though.
Yeah, they saw.
Right,
so Laura
but-
Lynn definitely has seen her Fae 1T mix.
Yeah, but by the time Sly has made it, 75% of the way across the camp, all the way to Sweet, she's deactivated that by now. Got it. Good. Yeah, so she would just be tending to Sweet's gut, probably pull some bandages or a cloth, a long cloth out of his pack, and just kind of wrap it around and quickly tie it off real quick.
Yeah, so Laura Lynn, as you're sitting there, you're looking, you think it would be futile to give chase. You look at your own hurt. You look at how injured Sui is. You look at even Sly, and he does not look much better for wear. Then your eyes trail to the open door, the door to the chamber where Agatha, injured by Sui, sits crying. She's not sitting. She's actually kneeling down beside the body of your friend Matthias, and you determined it would be futile and maybe even crazy. It would give the advantage to the black bitch, not knowing how injured she was, not knowing what magic she might still have ready to bear.
That was pretty terrifying when she hit Matthias once and he was obliterated.
Yeah. So yes. So this is where we would camera would kind of pull out on the end of this scene, and it would be an opportunity for each of you to share any last thoughts or moments that your character is having as you succeed in rooting out the bandits, though unfortunately Brithwin, the bandit leader, was able to escape, having gotten the revenge that she so sorely wanted. Unfortunately for her, she does not know that it was actually you, Sui, that had slain her husband and not Matthias.
Laura Lynn is going to head back in, having decided it's hopeless to try to catch the black bitch, and just check Matthias to see just how bad it is. And I assume there's no bringing that one back. He's not sitting at 0. He's sitting at totally dead, right?
No, he took so much damage that it put him well beyond his full hit point total.
Yeah.
Anything that puts you in one hit like that, I mean, even then you'd have a system shock, but no.
Yeah. So she just tries to comfort Agatha, and maybe, because Agatha's in pain too, and I don't know.
Right.
And Laura Lynn is really, she's really upset. This was her friend. They've spent some time together by now, and he was a very stalwart and true friend. And so I don't know. She's going to be sitting there with Agatha crying, I think.
Yeah, that's lovely. I love it. And we'll just go along. How about you, Sly? So you would be the last to find out the fate of your companions.
Yeah, Sly would.
And actually, your friend.
Yeah, Sly, as he's bandaging up. Air quote that. Come on, man. Sly, as he's bandaging up Sui, he's still adrenaline pumping, very wide-eyed, quickly bandaging her up tightly, probably a tad too tightly. It might cause her a little bit more pain than intended, but he's just trying to put enough pressure to stop the bleeding. He's going to ask her kind of panically. He said, "Okay, how'd it go? Did we get her? Did we get the black bitch? How's Agatha? Did Mathais get Agatha? Who's hurt? Is anyone hurt?"
Matthias is dead.
And Sly kind of stops, and he continues to wrap around. He says, "What do you mean Mathais is dead?" And then he'll tie off the knot. He said, "What does that mean? What do you mean?"
Sui sits down at the temple steps in a puddle of her own blood, and she, with her chin, nods back over her shoulder towards the open door where Laura Lynn is crying. And she looks back off into empty space and says again, "Matthias is dead."
And Sly said, "You just kind of, you don't know what you're talking about. You don't even know how to tend an arrow wound. I'll take care of him. I'll take care of him. Where is he? Over there? Laura Lynn, how's Mathais?" And as he walks into the room and just sees Matthias's condition, probably that gaping wound in his gut, blood all over the place, he just kind of, he stops and he sees Agatha over him crying and Laura Lynn the same, and he stops and he just kind of starts to look around and says, "But get away from him! Get away from him! Here, I'll help him." And he puts his small hands futilely over this wound in his stomach and tries to put as much pressure on, tries to cover it with his hands, which probably the two of them together aren't even big enough to stop it. He says, "We just get some, give me some warm water. I need warm water now."
And Laura Lynn looks at Sly, and she's like, "Sly, there's no hope. It's too late.
And
See if you can help Agatha, maybe, but no, he's gone." Or she just kind of starts sobbing.
It's stop, fine. And he pulls out his flute and he kind of brushes, readies his shoulders, and he goes to start playing the same tone that he was playing earlier, but it's a little bit different. There's a few notes that are different to it, a little more solemn, and he's playing, and the air pressure kind of starts to build up around him. His few of his hairs kind of stick up. They start to rise a little bit. His cloak, maybe from the tattered where he was struck, starts to kind of flutter a little bit with the extra wind, and then he's playing his song, and he'll miss a couple notes, a few bad notes, and then he'll just kind of his hairs fall back down flat. And he just starts over and he starts playing his song, and the air pressure building up again. He's trying to cast Cure Wounds just to try and help Matthias is the best he knows, and he just keeps playing, and he messes up halfway through, and he starts to play again, and he just keeps doing this over and over.
And that's how. I'm sorry. Was somebody going to say something?
Oh. Did you want me to do the Sweet's final thoughts or no?
Yeah, I didn't know if you wanted to count what you did earlier when you were telling Sly that he was dead. If that was your, yeah, go for it.
I'll keep it short and sweet. Sweet's sitting on the steps and she's looking off into the distance. Her eyes don't focus on any one thing in particular. She knows that she has failed. She has failed to kill the leader of the bandits. She has failed to stop the black bitch in one of the plans she has. She has failed her companions because she allowed one to die. And she has brought mental harm to the others. Each Kuwato gave her 2 feathers, one to give her more brute force to overcome her enemies, one to give her more cunning to overcome her enemies. And both have failed. And as she looks off into the distance, into the darkness of night, Sui makes a decision. Because she did not lead by example today. She led by weakness. She will not lead by weakness again. She knows what she must do. In the future, if being a hero means the destruction of everything around you, she will find a new definition of the word hero, and she will use her Wanti blood to accomplish it. She will show no mercy. She will not be kind. She will not save or offer life to others like she did the black bitch. She will dominate. She will break. And she will shatter everyone who stands before her in the name of what she thinks is good. Because that is the Wanti way. And that is the efficient way to be a hero from her perspective. And the scene would end, I would imagine, like it would be like a day later. She would take away her pen from her journal and she would close it on those words. And she would close her eyes and sleep. And she would dream dreams of snakes hissing and dark and dank dens.
Mm. Yeah. And it would that's how it would end. But just before it goes to that scene, Marquise as or Sui, almost to punctuate the ominousness of the events of this evening, the darkness, there's a low, slow rumble of thunder. And then the heavy rains start to fall. They fall down on you, Sui, as you sit there. But I imagine that Sui just sits there emotionless as the rain is just hitting her, as these thoughts are going through her mind. And that is how we'll end session 3, the Bandit Nest. Very well played,
Holy
guys.
shit.
And thank you very much, Dan, for playing the bad guy. Dan is a really good guy. Do not,
No, I'm terrible.
Tom,
Don't let him lie to you.
do not take it personal. I asked Dan to step into this role because I figure a player can bring to life a villain so much better than a game master, which allows me to officiate the game and kind of referee the game. So I'm going to end the stream, but I want to do some quick outros. So we'll start from my right to left. Marquise, if you want to just plug your channel or anything else you want to plug. I know you're working on some things.
So guys, I'm Physical Strider on the YouTubes. You can find me playing and running games. I'll be running a game this Sunday in a new system called Symbaroom. It's a Swedish system. I highly suggest that everyone checks it out because it has the most beautiful setting and the gameplay is fantastic. And I cannot wait to really dig my teeth into this. That being said, I'm also part of an important inspiration. There won't be a new article tomorrow, but there will be a new one next week with some new play tested material for your tables and everything. So check that out. That being said, I greatly enjoyed the game. Thank you very much, Lionel. I'm loving developing Sui as she goes, and I'm excited to see if she stays going down this dark Wanti path or she's able to come back out of it. So that being said, thank you very much, man.
No, thank you, Marquise. It was a pleasure. Tom, please. Anything you'd like to share?
What happens now?
We will make another guy for you.
Okay.
We don't want to get rid of you. Just because Mathais fell bravely on the field does not mean that Tom doesn't get to continue to play in this adventure. If you want to, man, you're welcome to continue to play.
All right. That's the plan then.
We'll connect.
I'm really sorry, man. Like that was.
That's all right, man.
That was glorious, though. I mean, that was cinematically. Can I just say, cinematically, that was such an awesome scene, though. I mean, it sucks when a player dies, but Mathais, you played it right to the end, man, and I loved it. I loved it.
Cool.
So, thank you, Tom. Is there anything else you want to share?
No, just thanks for having me here, and I'm going to make another character. I guess I was thinking.
We'll talk off stream, but yeah, don't go when we're done. When I shut the live off, don't go anywhere, Tom. Okay. Cool. All right, Sly, you're up, my brother.
Yeah, just another great session. Good to finally get to be a player, and I think this is probably the best way I could have hoped to get to do that. Really, test my stuff here, and just the way that things are going as it is right now, I just think it's going to be a lot of fun moving forward.
It was fun having you in the game tonight too, Mr. Sly, aka Kyle, and last but not least of my players, Carol.
Yep. I want to thank you for running this. I think it went really well tonight. You guys did all really kill it. It was great. It was nice to see Kyle and Tom really kind of stretch their role play legs this time. It was cool. And thank you very much, Dan, for coming to be our bad guy for the session.
Well, thank you, Carol. Don't sell yourself short. You stretched some role play legs tonight too. I like the end scene there with you kneeling by Mathais with Agatha. That was sweet. And last but not least, our
I'm sorry, one more thing I wanted to say, and that was I really appreciate Marquis's role play because that really helps to inspire me to look a little harder and go a little farther too.
Yeah, we're all friends here. Don't be afraid, man. We're here. Let the emotion fly. How's your character feeling? We had a really good. This was a tense session tonight. I loved it. And last but not least, our walk-on cameo villain, Dan.
Thanks, Lionel, but I feel like such a skis ball right now. Oh man. Yeah. I definitely feel evil. So mission accomplished there. I just want to do a shout out to the One Shot group. That's where we all get a lot of games and meet each other and all that. It's really great community. And yeah, just want to thank Lionel. Just say that I thought that was awesome. Very well organized game, I think. And thank you to the players.
Yeah. So thank you guys. I know I've said it once, but I want to. You can never, I think, thank your players enough. So thank you very much for playing this game. Thank you for being such awesome role players because you made my job really easy tonight. I actually got to sit back and really watch some really good role play. It was actually I almost lost track of some of the things I needed to keep track of because I got so drawn into the role play that you guys were all having. Like, oh crap, it's my turn. But anyways, thank you. We're gonna end stream and please be sure to join us in session 4 as our valiant heroes return to Shadowdale. What do you think, guys? Victorious? How do we call this?
Failure from Sweet. Sweet is like, this does not go as I wanted it.
Yeah. So mixed, very mixed feelings as we return, as our heroes return to Shadowdale. And with that, I'm Lionel Dehitri. I am the game master of this great group, and I am with the channel 2 guys, T and D&D. And peace.